Louie Tee. Welcome to the Command Postgame Live. You know what it is. Post up and take command. I, of course, am your set man, Louie Tee. Get this. All right, there we go. You know what it is. Post-game show. First preseason game for the Washington Commanders. Panthers get the win 23-21. And let's start with the cosmetic, okay? What a beautiful day it was for football, man. I mean, 78 degrees, sunny, not a cloud in the sky. The field looked gorgeous. I want to know if they're going to paint the end zones in the burgundy, right? Like, it was just regular with just the yellow font. I'm assuming it's preseason. They don't need to take it that next step further, but I would hope that once the regular season gets here, that the end zone will be all burgundy, and then the Commanders' yellow font will be inside of that. But the field looked beautiful. I don't know if this is a byproduct of the irrigation system that they put in when Ron got here, and now we're starting to see the effects of it. If they put down new, grass or whatever, it looks immaculate. FedEx never has looked better, honestly speaking, from a turf standpoint. So that's the aesthetics, right? The uniforms, I thought they were pretty cool. Like, I didn't love them. I don't hate them. They're okay. They're going to have to grow on me a little bit. The helmets are outstanding. And so I thought from an aesthetic standpoint, yeah, all of that stuff kind of, you checked all those boxes off, okay? And then you get to the actual play on the field. And I got to say, I don't know about you guys, but for me, every Washington Commanders preseason game feels the same. Kind of sluggish start, don't score a bunch of points. We're down 2 scores in the fourth quarter. We make some kind of furious comeback, make it interesting. Either it's enough to win or we just barely lose, like the New England game last year. All of the games feel the same, except when we totally get, run, like we did against Baltimore in the last preseason game last year. But for the most part, most of the preseason games feel exactly like this, where you say, the first team was okay. It wasn't great. Could have been better. The second team, and then you say, but the third stringers came in and made it a ball game. How are you supposed to feel good about that exactly, right? So that's kind of what this game, it was 20-6. Going into the eighth, I think 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, it's 20-6. And you're saying, this is it, So, again, it's preseason. You don't really care about the outcome of the game. The biggest thing is to come out of it healthy. We did that, okay? No injuries. I don't think either team came out of this thing with any major injuries. So that's always the first thing that you come out of these games looking to. Like, the Jets lost, their quarterback, and they dodged a bullet. Zach Wilson went down last night, and it was feared that he tore his ACL. Turns out that, there's some damage done. He's going to require surgery, but it's only a 2 to 4 week recovery process. So, they dodged a big bullet, but that's the kind of stuff you fear in these games. And we didn't have any of that. So that's the first thing that you have to look at. And so when we start taking a look at what happened actually on the field, I want to go through my keys to the game, or the things that I was looking for. And I think it'll kind of lead me through everything that happened. And I'll probably touch on most of what happened. And anything that I don't touch on, you guys will clean it up. So let's go through my 7 things that I was looking for in this first preseason game. So the 7th thing was punt return, right? I was looking for someone to separate themselves, punt and kickoff return. And I told you who would be out there first, and he was. Alex Erickson was out there first to return the opening kickoff of the game. He returned the first punt return of the game. And then, that was it. They started cycling in other guys. Kyrick McGowan got a couple of opportunities on kickoffs. They put the guy Cole that they just signed not too long ago back there to field a punt and a kickoff. We didn't force them to punt enough to see, we did see Dax Milne back there, and he actually had the best return of the day on a punt return, but we didn't force them to punt enough. Like, they only punted like 3 times in the game, maybe 2-3 times max. So which we'll get to the third down defense, which was atrocious again today. Again, it's a preseason game. You're not game planning for any of this. You're not out here, but that stuff, people try to, sweep stuff under the rug. We're not game planning. I don't give a shit if you're game planning or you're not. Your base stuff, your basic shit against my basic shit, who is going to out-execute the other? And we got out-executed on third downs yet again in this football game, so we're going to talk about that. But the punt return game, I kind of feel the same way I felt coming into this, leaving this game, which is Alex Erickson is going to make this football team as our punt and kick return guy. He almost broke that punt, broke like 4 tackles, just couldn't get out of that scrum. If he finds a way out of that thing, it's probably a house call. But more likely than not, he's going to probably win that job. Now, I will say Dax Milne looked better on the one punt return that he had, and maybe that would lead to more opportunities. But again, Ron made it abundantly clear the guy that's returning punts needs to also be returning kickoffs. And right now, Dax Milne isn't even in that mix. So I still think it's Alex Erickson. But Erickson did do something that I didn't think we were going to see from him. And I know he's capable. I've watched his career, whether it be in Cincinnati, and that's where the bulk of his production has come, or in Carolina. The guy can play receiver, but he's more of a return specialist. But just like with DeAndre Carter, when his number was called last year, he made plays. Alex Erickson made some big plays in this game, a couple of big catches with some runs after the catch. So as far as I'm concerned, he's stamping his ticket to making this roster with performances like the one he put forth today. So the punt return situation, I think it's still up in the air, but my money's on Alex Erickson locking that thing up. Number 6 was Curtis Samuel and the young DBs. So Curtis Samuel, I told you they were going to make a concerted effort to get him involved. And what do they do? The very first play of the game offensively for Washington, they throw a bubble screen a slot screen rather, to Curtis Samuel to get him going. So I thought they would do that. I thought they would do the same thing with Jahan Dotson. We'll get to that a little bit later on. But I thought they would get him involved as well, get him a touch, get him his welcome to the NFL moment. That didn't happen. But Samuel touched it a couple of times, also had a key catch on a third down that got us into striking distance on the one possession that we did score a touchdown on. He had a big catch on a third down, turned up the field, got the first down. So Curtis Samuel looked good in this football game. I don't think he's any worse for the wear. We'll find out, a little bit later on. But if he comes out of this feeling good, I think you can start to put some of that to rest. Again, he's got to stay healthy the rest of camp. He's got to stay healthy the rest of these preseason games, really just next week. But from all indications, where all systems go with him, he looked good. He's going to be a difference maker in this offense. The young DBs. So right away, right out of the gate, before the game even started, there was a damper put on the young DB conversation because Benjamin St-Juste wasn't active for this game. And it went against what Ron told us on Thursday, because Ron, when asked about Benjamin St-Juste, was he going to play? He said, yes, he was going to play. And then for some reason, they decided to scrap him today. And again, if you think that there's a situation where he could aggravate something, he's feeling a little tight, or you're just not sure, err on the side of caution in the preseason. And I think that's what ultimately happened. If this were an actual regular season game, he probably plays today. But because it's a preseason game, you don't need to risk him just to get some film that you can watch and analyze and study and learn from. We can do that next week. So no Benjamin St-Juste. So that put a little bit of a damper on some of the young DB conversation. We didn't see any of the young guys get in with the first team. It was strictly Cam Curl and Bobby McCain at the safety position. They pretty much stayed in their nickel for the entire time. We didn't see Derek Forrest or Percy Butler until well into the second half, really into the second quarter is when we started to see those guys trickle in. So I thought Percy Butler, he's got, wet ass cheeks for hands, slippery as hell. The ball went right through his damn hands. That was one of the differences in the game, is that the Panthers, when opportunities presented itself, they took advantage. Gibson fumbles, they scoop it up, they turn that into a touchdown. Taylor Heineke overthrows the receiver, and the DB is waiting right there for the ball. It comes straight to him. He catches it. Percy Butler is in great position, he does everything correctly, runs underneath the route. The ball is thrown right to him and right through his damn hands. And that's why he's a DB and not a wide receiver. So I thought the young DBs were fine. But Percy Butler, you could tell the game's moving fast for him. There was a pass over the middle of the football field. I always love it when David Mayo is trying to run because I told you he looks like he's about to blow a tire. He's pointing to the safety. Hey, he's coming, up the seam. And Percy Butler's still another 10 yards away. And got to give PJ Walker some credit. He dropped the football right in between the linebacker and the safety. Percy Butler got there late, and it was a big gain. So, the game is still slowing down for Percy Butler. But, again, he had an opportunity to make a huge play in this game, and he did not. But all in all, I thought the young DBs, they were fine. I was impressed with Stephen Nelson, or Parker, excuse me, Stephen Parker. He flashed. I don't expect him to make the football team, but I want to tell you right now, the back end of that cornerback position is scary right now. I was not pleased with what I saw from the cornerbacks in this particular football game, and that includes the starters as well. We'll get to that here in a bit, but the depth at corner is starting to worry me. It was one of those things we talked about. I said it's a little thin on the back end of that thing, and without Benjamin St-Juste, and it's very plausible to see one of these guys to go down, whether it's William Jackson III or it's Benjamin St-Juste. All it takes is one of these guys to go down, and then you're going to see what we saw today, which is a ton of Danny Johnson, and then you're tapping into some of that back end of the roster depth. That's pretty damn scary if you ask me right now. No one has stepped up and said, hey, I can hold it down for you in a pinch. So more football over the next 2 weeks may clear some things up, but right now I'm nervous about the back end of the DB room, specifically at the cornerback position. Tight ends was number 5. Wanted to see them. So the very first thing that I was looking for when we got the football to start this game was who was going to be out there. The starting offensive line, the tight end position. I knew the receivers. I knew what the quarterback was going to look like. I knew what the running back position was going to look like. I knew what the receivers were going to look like. I wanted to see what tight end was, who was out there with the first team offense. I wanted to see who was out there on the offensive line because we knew we were going to do some shuffling around. And so we'll talk about the offensive line next. But at the tight end position, I told you, it's Sammy Reyes' show. He's going to get an opportunity to star. And what today's game told me is that they have zero confidence in Sammy Reyes' ability to play on the offensive side of the football. That man didn't get in the game at all, period. At no time did Sammy Reyes see the field on offense. The very first offensive possession, it was all rookie, undrafted tight end Amani Rodgers. And he had a field day early, a bunch of catches. I think he had 3 catches on the second possession of the game. Amani Rodgers was the star of the show at the tight end position in this game, essentially. And then after Amani Rodgers, it went straight to Curtis Hodges, okay? There was no sight of Sammy Reyes, which tells me, and I told you guys this about 2 weeks ago, that Sammy Reyes is a guy that I don't think they feel like gives them what they're looking for offensively. And that was abundantly clear because you're down your top 3 tight ends and you go to two undrafted rookies with the first team. That first throw on third down that Carson Wentz threw to Amani Rodgers, that's a good ball. That's a good attempt by Rodgers. But I'm thinking in my mind, I say, that's supposed to be Cole Turner. That's supposed to be 6'6". That's supposed to be up here taking that shit off the top shelf. Now, Amani Rodgers is 6'5", so it's not that big of a difference, but I'm just thinking in my head, that's supposed to be Cole Turner's route. That's not supposed to be Amani Rodgers running that route. But that ball could have been a little bit higher, a little bit further out. I thought Wentz pulled the string on a couple of throws. That was one of them. There was another one down the sideline to Terry. We'll talk about that when we get to Wentz. But all in all, I thought the tight end position actually didn't play that poorly. Now, on the touchdown run by Brian Robinson, Amani Rodgers whiffed on his block on the backside. Luckily enough, Brian Robinson had a gaping hole on the left side. Shout out to Charles Leno Jr. and Andrew Norwell for clearing out space on that side, because if he had to wait at all, that backside defender would have gotten him before he got into the end zone, because Amani Rodgers was so terrible on the backside of that play blocking. So that's where you struggle with these young tight ends, is that they're not ready to impact the game from a blocking standpoint. They can help you in the pass game. We saw that today. they struggle in the pass blocking and run blocking department. So I thought the young tight ends showed well, though. They got their opportunities. I thought they took advantage of those opportunities. And I told you I wanted to see what all the fuss was about Amani Rodgers. I'm sold. I like the young fella. I want to see him more, and I want them to continue working with him. I want to see him put on some weight, continue to hone his craft, learn the nuances of the tight end position. He may have something, okay? He looks like a receiver right now, size-wise. I need him to fill out and look like a tight end next season. So I like what I saw in this game. I want to see more. So we get to number 4. The fourth thing that I was looking for was the offensive line. And I told you we were doing shuffling around. Obviously, no Chase Roulier in this game, which was going to prompt us to have to move some pieces around, because then you have to ask yourself, do we insert Wes Schweitzer, at center, which is what you would have done had you not had an injury at right guard to Trey Turner. You would have just simply taken Wes Schweitzer, inserted him in at center, and there's nothing to talk about. However, because Trey Turner is out at right guard, now you're thinking to yourself, do I want to put, and there's no Sadiq Charles too, keep that in mind, because maybe you just go Sadiq Charles at guard and Wes Schweitzer at center. But because you're now talking about your 4th string guard having to come in, if you are deciding to take Wes Schweitzer and put him at center, that's scary, that's dangerous. You're now putting your starting quarterback at risk. So instead of doing that, what they did was, and I said there were 2 options. You could put Wes Schweitzer at center, and then you have to pull one of these guards in here. That's a scary proposition with no Sadiq Charles available. I said probably the likelihood is you don't want to hurt 2 positions by taking Wes Schweitzer, who's more naturally a guard, and putting him at center, and now you're putting some rando at guard. You're going to probably leave Schweitzer at guard, and then Keith Ishmael, who played for us last year in the regular season, got some meaningful snaps and some great experience. Natural center, just put him at center and keep it pushing. And that's exactly what they did. He started the game, and there were really no issues up front. They weren't great in the run game initially, but as the game wore on, they got better in the run game, especially when Brian Robinson came in. I don't know if that was a byproduct of the Panthers starting to take out some of their frontline guys, or if that was a combination of that and our guys getting into a better rhythm, and Brian Robinson maybe hitting the hole a little bit more aggressively and decisively. I don't know. There could be a number of different reasons as to why it happened the way it happened. But all in all, the offensive line kept Carson Wentz upright. Thought they did a pretty good job of protecting Taylor Heinicke as well. And I don't think we really saw any sacks until Sam Howell came in. And that's natural for a rookie quarterback to, have the game speed up, not see something initially, hold on to it too long, and take a sack or 2. So, and that third string, they're pretty bad. So anyway, I digress. Number 3 was linebacker play and defensive pressure. So I'm looking for splash plays. I'm looking for guys to stand out. I thought that there were a couple of solid plays by Cole Holcomb and Jamin Davis of them attacking the line of scrimmage aggressively, but they didn't make the play, right? And it's okay to not make the play, but if you're not going to make the play, you're making a play so that someone else can make the actual play. And so it's like a hockey assist. That didn't happen, okay? They filled their gaps, but there was nobody else there to make the play, and so you're still getting 3-4 yards on these carries. So I wasn't blown away by what I saw at the linebacker position. I didn't see any splash plays by these guys. To me, it's still a work in progress at the linebacker position. The defensive line I thought was okay, but I wanted to see pressure. And on the plays that we got pressure, there still wasn't enough coverage on the back end to stop completions from happening. Case in point, on the touchdown after the Antonio Gibson fumble, for me, my biggest thing is you gotta lay hands on guys. There has to be the threat of violence. We are just way too soft with these receivers running through zone. Nobody laid a finger on Rashad Higgins. And I'm looking at William Jackson at third, and I'm like, bro, where are you bailing to? They're at the 6-yard line. Where are you going? Touch him. Feel him. Okay? Hug him. Love him. Lay hands on this man. Reroute him. All he had to do was get touched one time running that shallow cross the field. And if he gets touched by one guy, the corner, the linebacker, anybody, it's a sack. Montez Sweat is there. But because Nobody touched this man. Sam Darnold is just dropping back. He's losing ground just so he can lob it over the top of the defense. And Kendall Fuller can't recover because nobody touched this man. Somebody, anybody, lay hands on this man. Damn. That's frustrating because that shouldn't have been a touchdown. That should have been a field goal. So I thought the pressure was solid. Jonathan Allen had a pressure, but Baker Mayfield got rid of the football and was able to complete the pass. Why? Because Danny Johnson got cooked in the slot. So I thought the pressure was fine. You know, there were a couple of times where the pocket collapsed. Baker had to get out of there, use some athleticism. He had to get out of there and slide one time. I thought when they brought in Sam Darnold, there were a couple of times where there was pressure on him and he had to get out of there. I thought the pressure overall was pretty solid throughout with every single unit. I wasn't disappointed. Montez Sweat had a couple of pressures. I thought the pressure overall was solid on the afternoon, but the back end didn't hold up their end of the bargain. And we'll talk about that as the day progresses. Jahan Dotson and the debut of Brian Robinson. So the two rookies was number 2 on my things to watch for. I was disappointed that offensive coordinator Scott Turner didn't get Jahan Dotson a touch. And I really didn't care in what capacity. I just felt like in order to get the rookie comfortable, and that's going to happen next week. I'm pretty sure he's going to look back and say, okay, we got to get the rookie a touch. You know, break the ice, get him, you know, into the flow of things, the rhythm of things, get him a touch, get him tackled, whatever the case may be, get him out in space, whatever floats your boat. But similar to the way you made it your business and made a concerted effort to get Curtis Samuel a touch, I feel like that needs to be done. I thought it should have been done in this game, but that's fine. Everybody can't get a touch. That's fine. I don't understand why. You know, I'm always a big why guy because for me, there's no excuse. Like, you hear these coordinators talk all the time. Well, you know, the ball needs to be distributed where. No. You're the play caller. You call a play. You design a play to get whoever you want to get the football in the hands of that guy. So I never want to hear, well, the defense dictated that Terry didn't get a touch in the first half. That's bullshit because you're the offensive coordinator. You can call a jet sweep for Terry. You can dictate whether Terry touches the football or not. It's up to you to make sure that guys feel like they're a part of the game and a part of the action. I don't want my guy going a full 2 quarters without a target or a touch. That's ludicrous. So I was disappointed Jahan Dotson didn't get a touch in this game. A slant, the same wide receiver screen you threw to Curtis Samuel, throw another one on the opposite side to Jahan Dotson. Okay? Run a jet sweep. I don't really, and you don't want to show too much. I get it. It's preseason. Okay, run the same damn slot screen that you had Jahan blocking for Curtis Samuel. Run the same shit on the opposite side and then flip it and have Terry blocking for Jahan. Get him the rock. It's the same damn play. You want to keep it vanilla? Fine. I don't care. Just get him a touch. But, there was one target to Jahan, and it was a corner route. Carson laid it out there. It was a little too far, and that was the only target to Jahan in the game. So that was disappointing. I wanted to see the young fella touch it. As far as Brian Robinson is concerned, it couldn't have gone any better for him. So you never want to have your opportunity come at the expense of another guy, especially via injury, which this wasn't. But this is how it happens in the NFL. Somebody doesn't get it done. Your number gets called. You got to take advantage of the opportunity. He did that today. This is the crazy part about Antonio Gibson is, and I feel so bad for him, you could tell he was beating himself up like Ike on the sidelines. You know, Charles Leno Jr. tried to come over and console him. He didn't want to hear it. Carson came over and, gave him a couple of encouraging words. He wasn't trying to hear that shit at that time because he knew he just effed up. Like, this is the reason they drafted the young fella in the first place. And I just gave him an inside track to taking my job. And what did Brian Robinson do? Came in the game and immediately showed everyone why they spent the 3rd round pick on me and why your ass might be on the bench if you keep this shit up. So the reason they drafted Brian Robinson wasn't because of Gibby's ability. The dude is super talented. It's never been about Antonio Gibson's ability to be a running back, even though he's still learning the position. It was never about that. It was always about 2 things. And we saw both of them rear their ugly heads today, which is not a good sign for Antonio Gibson. The reason they drafted Brian Robinson in the 3rd round was because of Gibby's inability to secure the rock. He's had issues with fumbling in camp. He's had at least 3 fumbles in camp, and he fumbles in the very first preseason game on the second possession. It can't go any worse for him. But then they put him in with the second string, and the other reason they drafted Brian Robinson is because of short yardage. And they give Antonio Gibson the ball on 3rd and 1, and what does he do? He gets tackled short of the first down. So what do? They go for it on 4th down. They take Gibson out, and they put in Williams. What does that tell you? Williams gets the first down, and then they put Gibson back into the game. So right there, Antonio Gibson had an opportunity to show them the 2 things that they were concerned about when they spent the 3rd round pick on Brian Robinson, and he failed both tests. I'm frustrated because I like Antonio Gibson. I want him to win, but you can't be on the field if you can't protect the football. That is priority number 1, numero uno. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't protect the rock. You can't play in the game. Simple as that. So Brian Robinson took full advantage of the opportunity that he got. And how many missed tackles did we see with him in the game? How many yards after contact? That was the talking point. That was the emphasis. When he was drafted, we talked about yards after contact, physicality. That's what Gibson lacks. Not that he's soft, because we've seen Antonio Gibson get yards after contact. We've seen him be physical. But when it's 4th and 1, when it's 3rd and 1, we don't see the same physicality. We don't see the same contact balance, which is, to me, I talk about this all the time. If you've been watching me for any amount of time, one of my biggest attributes that I look at with a running back is contact balance. You want to talk about the best running backs in football? You need not go any further than contact balance. Some guys run 4.4, some guys run 4.5. But I can tell you the one thing that is a common thread between all the top backs in the league: contact balance. You hit a guy, he bounces off of contact, he stumbles, but he does not fall down. If you're going to get this guy on the ground, you're going to have to come with your hard hat and your lunch pail. You're going to have to wrap up, because if you don't, he's going to stay on his feet. He's going to continue to churn out yards, and he's going to get yards after the contact. That's not always the case. It's sometimes the case. And we saw when Gibby came back in, what did he do? He ran angry. Every time he fumbles and he comes back in, he gets pissed off and he runs angry. And we saw that. And we know he's capable. But Robinson took that opportunity and he literally and figuratively, he ran with it. Okay? Had a fantastic day. Let's look at the numbers real quick. Let me see what numbers he put up in this football game. Brian Robinson, 6 carries, 26 yards, average 4.3 yards per tote. Meanwhile, Antonio Gibson, 4 carries, 2 yards for a dental floss thin 0.5 yards per attempt. So Brian Robinson Jr., and of course the lone touchdown with the first team offense. He was fantastic in this game. And yards after contact, he caught the ball, went through it to him down by the end zone, caught it, broke another tackle, got inside the 3-yard line. Brian Robinson took full advantage of his opportunity. And you know what's going to be really interesting now? This is something that will be, sort of at the top of the list when we talk about the Kansas City game next weekend, is who comes out with the ones when we talk about the running back position. I still think it's going to be Antonio Gibson. They do not want to bench this young man, but I'm telling you right now, he's skating on thin ice, and I wouldn't be shocked. This is why they drafted Brian Robinson right here, and that's why he was so disappointed with himself. This is why he took that knee, and he was telling himself, Antonio, AG, bro, this is exactly what you couldn't come out here and do. And, his fumbles, they all look the same. As he's going to the ground, he's literally inches from the ground, somebody pops that puppy free. And, when you're going to the ground, your first thought is, I got to protect myself. I'm going to put my other arm down to brace myself on this fall, and the other hand has the ball secured tightly, you would hope. His is never by the body. The ball's always out here, and it's always allowed to be poked out. Remember, he fumbled just like that against Carolina the last time we played the Panthers in the regular season. He had that fumble, which is when he got benched, but we didn't really have anybody to go to, so they had to put him back in the game, and he came back playing like a man possessed. He's got to learn how to protect the football, but keep it close to his body. It's never where it needs to be. The 5 points of pressure is fine. It's got to be tucked away close to the body. And this is the thing. When you've got an MO around the league, when the knock on you is that you are a fumbler, every time someone is coming to tackle you, whether you're already wrapped up or you're going to the ground, they're going to poke at the football because there is a rap sheet out on you, okay? There is already this notion around the league that if you go after the rock against this dude, he's going to put it on the carpet. And he did it. Jeremy Chin, or I think it was Jeremy Chin, whoever punched that football out, and I want to say it was Jeremy Chin, he came in with the sole purpose of punching that thing free. Gibson was going to the ground. He wasn't coming in there to help tackle him. He came right in with a punch, boom, ball came out. Brian Robinson, kudos to you for taking advantage of the opportunity. Now, there's a real discussion to be had about who starts with the first team next week against Kansas City on the road. I still think it's going to be Antonio Gibson, but I would not be shocked. And I want to hear Ron's tone because he's going to be asked after the game about Antonio Gibson's fumble. And Ron's tone and demeanor when he's answering that question will tell me all I need to know about how he's feeling about Antonio Gibson going into this week of practice. And I wouldn't be shocked if I hear from some beat reporters this week that Antonio Gibson was running with the twos and Brian Robinson was taking the vast majority of the snaps with the ones. I wouldn't be shocked to hear that. And that'll tell me all I need to know. And then number one was Carson Wentz's play. That was the number one thing that I think we were all looking forward to going into this game. And I thought Carson Wentz was really, really solid. He was 10 of 13 for 74 yards. I thought he managed the offense well. The 3 incompletions, they were probably deep shots. The deep shot he took to Amani Rodgers on the down the sideline on the first possession. He took a deep shot to Terry. I thought that was his worst throw of the day. Excuse me. I thought he had Terry behind the corner. The safety wouldn't have been able to get over there in time. If he throws that football out just a tad bit more, that felt like Taylor Heineke throwing that ball. Terry had to stop, wait on it, jump, try to go get it. If that ball's laid out there away from the safety, up the sideline, Terry probably runs under that thing. I don't know if he scores. Safety might be able to get him out of bounds before he gets to the end zone, but it's a big gain. And I thought he pulled the string. I thought he was trying to be a little too fine with that. And again, that's where the timing and all of that stuff comes into play. He'll get better with that because he's got to adjust to these guys' speed. They can run, okay? They can all run, but a lot of his incompletions were shots down the field. I thought he did the same thing with Amani Rodgers. I thought that ball needed to be a little bit higher. This is a 6'5" tight end against a small corner. Don't allow that corner to just stick his hand in there. He didn't even look for the ball. He just stuck his hand in the cookie jar and got lucky. Put that ball up top shelf, all right? Put it where the grown man liquor is. Don't put it down there where the well liquor is. That's where everybody can get some. No. Put that shit on the top shelf. All right? Not everybody can get up there. So I thought Carson was outstanding when he had time in the pocket. The other incompletion, I think, was to Amani Rodgers where he tried to get him killed, right, underneath. But he did hold on to it too long once. Where I was like, Carson, get rid of that shit. He threw it to, I want to say it was Amani Rodgers again on the outside on a stop route. But it took him a long time to get to the check down, right? Like, dude, get rid of it. Antonio, so it started out with Amani Rodgers getting a piece of the end, and then he leaked out into the route. Then Antonio Gibson came around, got a piece of the end, again, pushed him up the pocket. And so Carson steps up. I'm like, Carson, get rid of the ball, get rid of the ball. And Yetur Gross-Matos was coming back up the field to come get Carson, knocked the ball out of his hand, and he just got it away to Amani Rodgers. I'm like, whew, bro, you're making me sweat over here. Get rid of it. But outside of that, I thought the throw to J.D. McKissic, when he stepped up, jumped in the air, and tossed a little dart on the third down to J.D., that was a thing of beauty. To keep that drive alive, we ultimately got in the end zone on that possession. I thought the throw to Terry to get into a little bit of a rhythm on the outcut, that was a beautiful throw. The throw to Curtis Samuel on a big third down to pick up a first down and keep the sticks going, that was a big throw. I thought he looked very comfortable and in rhythm with the targets that were out there. And so I'm really I left this game encouraged by what I saw from Carson Wentz and the offense. Now the question is, can we see this again next week against Kansas City? Can we continue to see the growth, the evolution of this offense? Again, you don't want to show too much. You're not looking to give away things, but you also want to make sure that you're being successful, that you're allowing this offense to get into a rhythm. That's why they had to play so long, because you had the 3 and out, then you had a fumble, and so the offense had to play 3 possessions. The Carolina Panthers, they got Baker Mayfield in on 1 possession. They moved it right down the field, and they were able to take him out after that 1 possession. They got Sam Darnold in there on the 1 fumble. He throws a touchdown. They got him in there on another possession, and they got him out of there because they were able to move the football. We had to keep the offense in probably a little bit longer than we wanted to. And Ron said 15 to 20 snaps. So how you get to 15 to 20 is up to you. It took us 3 possessions to get to the 15 to 20 mark. So I thought all in all, Carson looked strong. He looked sharp. I'm encouraged by what I saw. And it was a good debut for him. I just need him to be more decisive, faster decisions, right? But all in all, he took the shots down the field that I want to see. I'm excited about that because he let it fly a couple of times. I thought on the timing, rhythm-based things, he was on time to Curtis Samuel, to Terry McLaurin. I'm just thinking about when the tight end position gets back to where we needed to be, when it becomes whole once again. That's not Amari Rodgers. That's now Logan Thomas. That's now Cole Turner. That's going to be dangerous because you can see him building that rapport with the tight end position. Look at how many times he threw the football to the tight ends. He loves throwing to his tight ends. So imagine when that's Cole Turner. Imagine when that's Logan Thomas. The offense is going to be tough to stop. I really, truly believe that, especially if we can run the football like we did when Brian Robinson came into the football game. If we can run it, keep that balance going, I think this is going to be a really good offense, one that's going to score some points and really give us a chance to win football games. But then you had the missed extra point after the touchdown, right? Brian Robinson gets in. There's a bad snap by Cam Cheeseman. Good hold by Tressway. I still need you to make that kick, but the operation was off by the snap. I still need Joey Sly to make the kick. But outside of that, that was the day for the first team offense. The first team defense, I thought, got pressure on the quarterback, but the back end wasn't stout. Danny Johnson got worked. He got worked inside. He got worked outside. It was not a good day for Danny Johnson. He did have the pass breakup right before the half when I thought P.J. Walker should have run the football, gotten the first down. I don't even know what they were doing, why their head coach, Matt Rule, ran off like 10, 12 seconds and then called a timeout with 11 seconds. I thought he was just going to call a timeout with like 4 seconds and kick like a 55-yard field goal or something. Like, that was weird what he did right there. It didn't make much sense to me. But anyway, I digress. The bottom line is we got a lot of work to do. But that's what the preseason is for. I think every team in the league probably is leaving the first preseason game saying the same thing. We got work to do. But what we can't have are the turnovers. The Heineke interception, I think some of that was from a little bit of pressure. I don't know if he really got to follow through on that particular throw or not. I saw him come to the sideline talking to quarterback's coach, Ken Zampese, and offensive I think it was Ken Zampese. I can't remember who the other coach he was talking to was, but he was telling him something about throwing. I'm thinking he didn't get to follow through, and that's why the ball sailed. I don't want to hear that shit. My whole thing is, this is the problem that I've had with Taylor Heineke, is that he's 6'0". He has to get a deeper drop so that he can see over the line. He can't step up and have the pocket presence that you need him to because he's too damn short. So he's always got to be a little bit further back, which always puts him in harm's way. That guy that forced him to not be able to follow through, he shouldn't have even been in the picture. That was good pass pro. All he needed to do was step up, but he can't step up because he's too damn short. And so he's got to stay back there so he can see. And that's why that guy got a piece of the football, or at least stopped him from following through, and the ball sailed and it ended up getting picked off. And that's why he's a backup and not a starter. But like I said, we moved in on that possession. I love Taylor Heineke as our backup quarterback. I think we're in good hands. And then, of course, Sam Howell. This is what makes this preseason different than past preseasons, is that after the first 2 units, usually are like, okay, I don't really need to watch anymore. I have no reason to watch the rest of this game because Steven Montez is not going to factor into this team's future. So I really don't give a shit what Steven Montez does. That's no longer the case. We're looking at Sam Howell and we're saying, if this Carson Wentz thing doesn't work, you're up, right? You're the next guy up, not Taylor Heineke. You're the next man up. And what he showed me today, and real quick, he was the player of the game, honestly. Obviously, he got in when, the guys that either aren't making the team or only seldom few are going to make the team was in. He still, I still want to see him shred him. And 9 of 16, 145 yards. Obviously, a lot of those incompletions came on that final possession when he's trying to get us into field goal range. So he was more like probably like 7 of 14, 7 of 13, right around that 55-60% completion percentage range. Either way, 145, and then the 17-yard touchdown scamper, which was a thing of beauty. We saw that at his last year at Carolina. I talked about this in his breakdown that he had to run. There was no more De'Ami Brown. There was no more Daz Newsome. There was no more Javonte Williams. There was no more Michael Carter at the running back position. He lost all of his guys in the draft the year prior. And so the burden of the offense was on his shoulders, and he actually showcased wheels last year at Chapel Hill. And you saw that on the 17-yard run. Nice little pump fake, Aaron Rodgers-esque, Patrick Mahomes-esque. The guy's 5 yards past the line of scrimmage, and the dumb linebacker freezes with a pump fake. He can't throw it at this point. But, you don't know where he is on the field. You're looking at him. You're not looking at the sideline to see where he is and where the line of scrimmage was. But he then jukes him, gets right by him. If it was two-hand touch, he wouldn't have gotten him down. And he gets into the end zone. It's a thing of beauty. And then he had the quarterback sneak. He was fantastic. I mean, honestly, up until he came into the game, it's 20-6. I'm not happy with the score the way it was. Even though, whether we won it, I'm not mad we lost the game. I would have loved to have won the game 21-20. But I'm not mad that we didn't win. I don't care about that. I hate the fact that we can only muster 6 points, right? The Panthers didn't even play their starting receivers. They didn't play Christian McCaffrey, and our defense couldn't get off the field. Like, that's frustrating to me. That they got their second group in, their JV squad in at receiver and running back, and we're struggling to get off the damn field because the back end can't hold up their end of the bargain, and they're continuing to pick up first downs. That's frustrating. At one point, the Panthers were 8 of 11 on third down. We were one of the worst third down defenses in football, if not the absolute worst. We were one of the worst. If we weren't dead last, we were second to last in third down defense. We were horrendous on third downs last year defensively, especially early in the season. And that's what the shit looked like in this game. I get it. You're playing off and soft. You're not mixing up coverages. Everything's vanilla, yada, yada, yada. All the shit that we hear about preseason. I don't give a shit about that. Get off the goddamn field on 3rd and 8. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to see a receiver wide-ass open on a simple-ass slant route on 3rd and 8 when there's pressure on the quarterback, but you can't cover for 2 seconds so the guy's wide open over the middle of the damn football field. Danny Johnson getting turned around like he's a damn turnstile. I don't want to hear that shit. I don't want to hear that the receiver's running through the damn zone, nobody touches him, and he's able to run past the corner on the other side because nobody laid a finger on him. Montez Sweat is in the quarterback's face, but because nobody touched the receiver, it's touchdown. That's not about scheme. That's simple, basic shit. Get the fundamentals right. So that, for me, is frustrating. And that's the same shit. And the reason I'm getting passionate in the first preseason game, because that's the same shit we saw last year. That's the same shit we saw last year. The only difference in this game was that there was actual pressure. Last year, there wasn't any pressure. There was the least pressure, and the pressure didn't pay off because the back end was sloppy. Now, we'll give credit where credit is due. William Jackson III and Bobby McCain combined on a beautiful play down the field in pass coverage. William Jackson III was right there on the deep ball. But just in case he was caught slipping, Bobby McCain was there to clean up that goddamn receiver, and he did, causing an incompletion. That's what I want to see. That's that back-end communication that we've heard about all offseason. That's what the shit's supposed to look like. Last year, that would have been one-on-one. Hey, William Jackson III, you got to fend for yourself, bro. Hope you get back there to make the play. Good to see the safety be where he's supposed to be, when he's supposed to be there, to make sure that nothing crazy is happening on the back end. So I do want to give credit where credit was due. That was a beautiful play, and I want to see more of that moving forward. So at the end of the day, I thought it was a solid performance for the first preseason game. You know, the mistakes that were made, these are the things that happened in the first preseason game. The thing that I don't like is the things that we didn't like from a season ago. I don't want to see those same things happening. That's that shit I don't like. So all in all, solid performance by the offense. The turnovers can't be a thing. And that's Gibby is, again, he's treading on thin ice. At this point, I wouldn't be shocked if they just bench him all together, because you can't keep doing the same things over again. One of the things in football that is very, very problematic for a coaching staff, no matter who it is, even at the combine, they get mad when they have to tell somebody something twice. You don't want to have to keep repeating yourself. You don't want to see guys making the same mistakes. One of the things you hear about guys that move up the ranks quickly is that he's a quick study. He makes a mistake, he doesn't make it again. Antonio Gibson keeps making the same mistakes over and over again. And at some point, you got to say, okay, bro, I gave you enough chances. We can't have this. It hurt us last year. You're hurting us right now. I'm not going to allow you to hurt us this year. So he's not getting cut. So I think I saw, one or two people saying, we got to get rid of – no. Stop talking crazy. Stop talking reckless, okay? He's still a quality back. He's just going to see his opportunities diminish if he can't protect the rock. And so I thought offense-wise, for all of the movements that we had to have up front, thought they were solid. I thought Carson Wentz was solid. For not having your tight ends, thought it was solid. Amani Rodgers stepped up when opportunities presented itself. I thought he made some plays. I like the young fella. So I thought the defense was okay. It wasn't great. You got the stop defensively against Baker Mayfield, forcing them to kick a field goal. That's cool, but they shouldn't have been down there. You had too many third downs on that first possession. You had 3 of them, and you gave up 2 of them. And only the last one were you able to get a stop, and force the field goal attempt. Then you get Sam Darnold in the game, and you got a chance to get off the field again, and you give up the touchdown pass. So I was not pleased with the third down defense. I wasn't pleased with what I saw from the defense. Then, you finally get a stop, that last possession defensively, and that's cool, right? But I need them to be better. But I see all of the elements that I need to see. How about Daniel Wise? I thought he was a standout in this game. We talked about that 4th defensive tackle and who was going to stand up and raise their hand and say, hey, I can be that guy. I thought Daniel Wise was outstanding. Did you see Fadarian Mathis making some plays out there? I like what I see from the young fellas inside. I thought they had a really good showing in this football game. Wise with the sack. How about look, I make fun of Casey Toohill. How about Casey Toohill off the edge? That Daniel Wise sack, you might as well get half of that to Casey Toohill, because he forced the initial pressure that forced the quarterback to step up right into the sack. Shaka Toney looked good. He did have the face mask penalty that led to the field goal. That was the icing on the cake. You first had the 5-yard illegal contact, which, damn, I mean, shit. I get it. You don't want to give up the touchdown, but Jeremy Reeves, you can't tackle a dude 25 yards down. If you can't tackle a dude, what are you doing? My goodness. And then you get the, face mask, but he had a couple of rushes late in the ball game where you could say, all right, this is why they're intrigued by him. But I'm going to tell you this. They really like Shaka Toney as a situational pass rusher. He's going to make the team because he's a core special teamer. They like William Bradley King better as a every down defensive end. And he got in the game earlier. They trust him a little bit more because he's stouter at the point of attack. I can assure you of that. But if you're trying to get to the quarterback, I think they like Shaka Toney more. That's not me telling you anything that you don't already know, because we were all excited about his potential when we drafted him out of Penn State. And you saw that at the end of the game. Even though he had the face mask penalty, there were a couple of rushes where he almost got to the quarterback. He turned the corner, and the quarterback was just athletic enough to step up and avoid. But there's something there. There's a little juice off the edge with Shaka Toney. So I do like seeing that. Anyway, I digress. Let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say about the action today. Panthers get the win 23-21 over Washington. But a lot of good things happened in the football game and a lot of good takeaways initially. So let's get to the comment section and see what you guys have to say. We start with King of the North. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. King of the North. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, trends from last year. Started flat, Gibby fumbles, third down D atrocious. I know it's preseason, but because those were issues last year, it's concerning. Thank you. I don't need to say it. You said it. That's part of the reason why I was so passionate. Like, it's the first preseason game. I don't need to be bent out of shape or, being, aggressive with my tone, but I can't help myself because this is the same shit we saw last year. And I can't help but think about every single preseason game. And to King of the North's point, that's not even just a preseason thing. This is a regular season thing. Slow starts. I'm going to chalk up the slow start to just all the injuries, not having everybody in the lineup, because if that's Cole Turner on that first third down, that might be a catch. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, who's to say, right? But you chalk that up to that, and you don't want to show too much, this, that, and the third, but I want to see execution. I don't want to hear that. Like, again, I just said, I don't want to hear that shit, that it's vanilla, it's preseason, you don't want to show this, that. Okay, I'll execute them. They're playing vanilla shit, you're playing vanilla shit. Whose flavor of vanilla is better? I want my shit to be stronger. Here, smell it, right? I don't want to hear about this vanilla shit. Make your vanilla stronger than theirs. Make it better than theirs. So I'm with you, King of the North. I couldn't have said it any better. That's why I was so passionate. These are issues from last season. I don't want to keep seeing the same shit over and over again. So that's why I was passionate about the third down defense or lack thereof. That's why I was passionate about the Gibby fumble. But I'm not as passionate. I'm more disappointed in Gibby because I really want to see him win. But at the same time, we got another dude that can get the job done. So at the end of the day, if he's not going to get it done, we got another dude that can. And that's why they drafted him. They didn't draft Brian Robinson to take Antonio Gibson's place if Gibson did what he was supposed to do. They drafted him to take Gibby's place if he wasn't doing what he's supposed to do. And right now, he's not doing the things that we need him to do, so he might get replaced. I still think when they trot the starters out next week at Kansas City, Gibby's going to be with them. But this is his last opportunity. I'm just going to tell you right now. Any more fumbles, and this is what I said, I don't even care if you're already down. That ball better not come out. Even if that thing was ruled not a fumble, because he was close to the ground. But it was a fumble. Clearly, it was a fumble. Even if it was ruled not a fumble, I would have been pissed. You can't put yourself in a position where the ball is on the floor. If, ands, buts, no doubt about it. You can't put it on the ground. Not you. Not you. Anybody but you. And the third down defense, that's really what got under my skin. Of all the things, the slow start doesn't bother me. The fumble, yeah, it's frustrating, but we got a remedy for that. Okay. Last year, we didn't have another guy to turn to, so he's like, we got to deal with this shit. We got a remedy for that shit this year. We saw it today. His name's Brian Robinson. I'm not tripping about that. There's only so much I can do for Gibby. I feel like how I was with Graham Gano. I can only protect you for so long before you got to start doing this shit that's going to give you an opportunity to spread your wings and fly away, bro. I can only nurse you in the nest for so long. I'm keeping the pitchfork and torch gang at bay, but it's only so long I can do it before I got to say, all right, man, y'all go ahead. Do y'all thing. I can't keep protecting you. I said the same shit to Graham Gano years ago. I said the same shit to Dustin Hopkins. I'm saying the same shit to you, bro. There's only so much I can do. I can only protect you for so long before I got to let the mob come after you. The thing that really frustrated me was the third down defense, because that's the shit that has to change. We won't beat anybody winning 38-35 because our offense hasn't shown us the ability to outscore teams yet. We're not there yet. We're not ready to go and have to win games shootout style 38-35. We may get there eventually this season because I think we have the weapons, we have the quarterback, we have all the things in place we need to be able to do that. But right now, I don't know if the offense is built like that. So I need the defense to get off the damn field. And what we saw today wasn't good enough, especially with the Panthers playing their second and third string wide receivers and running backs. That shit is not acceptable. It'd be one thing if it was DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson digging in our ass. You go, okay, those are 1,000-yard receivers. Those are good receivers. No. It's Brandon Silstra. It's Rashad Higgins. It's Shi Smith that's getting in our asshole. Not against our starters. That's not supposed to be happening. Thank you for the super chat, King of the North. Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes. Wentz showed. Terry Curtis stepped up. Howell, I thought Howell was good. I like what I saw. I thought he showed the ability to be a playmaker. How about the play where he avoids a sack, bounces back, rolls out, throws a little lob job to Alex Erickson, who catches, turns up the field, and gets about a gain of 40. Then 15 of it gets sucked back because Reggie Bonifant thought it was okay to talk shit. But that's a 40-yard gain. You know, the 17-yard run, the 40-yard throw right there, the throw to all y'all Calvin Harmon stands out there. Get your mans. Get your mans. You want an opportunity, you get an opportunity, and you out here juggling like a clown. Y'all want him to make the team. That should have been a big play there, too. So he showed me playmaking ability. I love it. Want more of it. Again, he's making the back end of these preseason games tolerable. That last preseason game that's usually ass, that's going to be fun to watch because it's going to be probably 4 quarters of Sam Howell, more likely than not. Maybe Heineke gets the first quarter and then the rest of the game is all Sam Howell, but I'll be interested to see him. And he'll be throwing to some solid guys. I don't think any of them are making the team outside of Alex Erickson and Dax Milne. Outside of those two guys, the guys he'll be throwing to, Kyrick McGowan and Markin, Michelle, all those guys, they're not making the football team, but they're solid. Kelvin Harmon, he'll be throwing it to him too, probably, if he's not cut by then. So we'll see what happens, but Sam Howell looks good. And to your point, I thought the first team offense, they looked good. They didn't look out of sorts. They didn't, they weren't outstanding. We don't walk away from this game and say, oh, shit, here we go. But we walk away saying, okay, that was a good debut. Like, I feel good. Like, I feel confident moving forward that they're going to get better. They're going to continue to improve. And that they're going to be what we think they ultimately can be, which is an explosive and dynamic offense. I left this game feeling just as confident as I did going in. I don't feel any more confident, but I feel just as confident. Let's see. Metaphor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Metaphor. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Right. Gibby just won second string duties and duties. Yeah, I don't know. I'm still going to advocate for him starting next week against Kansas City. To me, he's the more talented of the two backs. The more natural of the two backs is clearly Brian Robinson, but the more talented of the two backs is Antonio Gibson. And I don't want to see this young man relegated to the bench just yet. But again, it's because it's preseason. I'm going to give him an opportunity to show once again that he can be the guy that we drafted him to be. But the thing that we talked about, the thing that got Brian Robinson drafted in the first place, because they didn't need to draft Brian Robinson just to be a short yardage back. Okay, you don't draft a short yardage back in the 3rd round. They could have done that in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. They could have got an undrafted guy to be a short yardage back, a physical big guy in short yardage situations. They drafted Brian Robinson because Gibby couldn't hold on to the damn football last year. That's why. And then the icing on the cake was, hey, he also is better in short yardage than Antonio Gibson, who struggles in those situations. That was the icing on the cake. But the entire cake itself was the fumbling issue. Well, he fumbled again, and he's fumbled in camp. So, again, I think he's treading on thin ice at this point. I want to hear from Ron after the game. Some of you have probably already heard from Ron, because they're going to ask him about Antonio Gibson, and then they're going to ask him, how do you feel about Brian Robinson? And I want to see his mannerisms regarding both of those answers, because they're two different questions, and it's going to command two different responses, and I want to see his body language. If he gets really jovial and excited and he starts smiling when he's talking about Brian Robinson and the way he played, and he's really somber, he's disappointed, and and the tone is like, I had enough, then he might be second string for sure. And I was interested to see if Ron was going to pull the plug on his ass after the fumble, and damn sure did. We didn't see Gibby until Taylor Heineke was in the game after that fumble. Home, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Home writes, D-line depth is as thin as a line of Coke. Speaking of Coke, I think Doc Walker did some pregame, and I loved it. First of all, anybody that knows Doc knows that's his energy all the time. Like, Doc loves football, and I love Doc because he's one of those guys that just loves violence, period, end of discussion. He's from the old school. They look at the game totally different. Doc, as he can, says all the time, is a Neanderthal. He likes the guys that play the game of football like cavemen. That's why he loved the ex-Alabama edge rusher that we drafted in the second round. And I told you guys clearly this was a wasted pick. I don't even know if he's in the league anymore. But when we drafted him, he came in and he was talking that talk about, I might not test all that well at the combine, but I don't care about any of that. My job is to kick the other guy's ass across the field for me, and that's what I plan on doing. Snap in, snap out. That gets Doc excited. He starts sweating, and he's got a shower after he hears someone talking like that, because he likes that physical nature and aspect of the game. And so I loved it. My wife was like, "Who is that guy?" She's like, "Is he okay to have on TV?" I'm like, "Yeah, no, that's Doc. Okay, leave my guy alone. I love me some Doc." Doc was like, "I want him to put his helmet right under the chin strap." I'm like, Doc, that's a 15-yard penalty, bro. We can't do that. We're getting off the field. That's a third down stop. You want a 15-yard penalty. Like, I had to rein him in a couple of times. Like, hey, Doc, calm down. But that's my guy. I wouldn't have it any other way. I love Doc Walker, man. Give me 15 Doc Walkers on the broadcast. I'll eat it up. He was getting mad on 1-yard gains. That's too much. So I love it. I could tell Kenny Albert was uncomfortable at times with Doc Walker's aggressive tone on some of these plays. They get 1 yard and Doc's like, "That's too much. That's too much." And Kenny Albert's like, "And it's now 2nd and 9. I disagree with you as far as the D-line depth is concerned. If you're specifically talking defensive tackle, I thought that I saw what I needed to see out of the guys. But look, let's not act like we had 15 defensive tackles, before. It was 4. It was always 4. It was Tim Settle. It was Matt Ioannidis. And it was the Bama Wall. It was always 4, right? And then if you wanted to throw in a guy like Daniel Wise, okay, 5. But it was always 4. It's 4 now. If Wise steps up, and he played well today, if he steps up, it's still cool. F.A. Obata was playing defensive end, by the way. So the whole depth chart thing had me kind of like a bit befuddled. Like, defensive tackle? He played defensive end in the game. He was solid. He didn't move the needle at all. But I don't think the D-line depth is that bad at all. I like the ends. I like the tackles. I think we're fine. And Chase Young will be back at some point. I think we're going to be okay. Thank you for the super chat. Khalil Commanders. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Khalil Commanders writes, breaking news, Antonio Gibson is cut. Watch. That's not breaking news. That's not going to happen. He's still the second best running back on this team and an integral part of what they want to do. All right, an integral part. Like, they're not getting rid of him. He's way too talented. If we cut him today, he'd be signed tomorrow. Okay, you don't want to do that, and it doesn't make any sense to do that. Okay, you've got 2 more years of service of this guy. You use him, until you don't have to. You don't have to make a choice on his future for another 2 years. So you don't, right? In worst case scenario, he's got a fumbling issue. Okay, well, use him in other ways then. He's too talented to just not put on the field. Okay, split him out, use him as a receiver, do other things with him. Throw him the ball in the screen game. Like, his fumbles don't come in, out in space. His fumbles come in traffic every time. It's the same story. He's in tight. He doesn't see someone, and they pop the ball free. It's never when he's out in space. So get him in the game. Throw a screen to him. We saw the explosiveness in the screen game against Buffalo last year. Find other creative ways to get him the ball if you don't trust him as a running back. Toting the rock. Kevin, the PRF. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Kevin, the PRF writes, LT, avoid the comment section at all costs. It definitely isn't just the preseason there. Look, I get it, man. And I keep trying to, and I'm going to have to do this several times throughout the preseason. What I'm really fortunate about was Carson Wentz played fine, because I was scared what we were going to get at the end of this game was Baker Mayfield played well, Carson didn't. We should have traded for Baker Mayfield. See, we got the wrong quarterback. I thought that was going to be a topic of discussion. God forbid that, Wentz didn't play well and Sam Howell was carving up the third stringers, and he went 14 of 16 for 202, 2 touchdowns, 2 tubs in a rushing, and led us to a 27-21 victory. God forbid that happened. Lord have mercy. We would have been talking about, man, we need to start Sam Howell. I'm glad that shit didn't happen either. So, yes, I understand the comment section is the wild, wild west. I understand. It's okay. There were some frustrating aspects to the game, and there were also some really good aspects to the game today. So, I take it all in stride. I get it, though. I know what you're saying. Rob Yu, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, the O-line looked really solid today. Was there ever any doubt? I told you, I don't worry about the offensive line. Hell, I don't even worry about the combinations that we're putting out on the field. Why? Because John Masco has earned that respect from me. I can't speak for anybody else. But if you're talking about one particular position group on the team that is being coached well, no matter who's in the game, it's the offensive line. So as far as I'm concerned, I got no issues with the offensive line, no matter who we put out on the field. Now, obviously, you don't want to tap too far into that depth. I'm like, hey, Cornelius Lucas, I need your ass back, sooner rather than later, because I can't have Rashad Hill protecting my quarterback's blind side. That's not okay. So I need you to hurry up. But, we'll get Sadiq Charles back at some point. We'll get Cornelius Lucas here, back in the lineup here shortly. We'll get Chase Rouillet up to speed and back in game playing shape and where we need him to be. And we'll have Wes Schweitzer. And I told you, I like my Wes Schweitzer waiting in the wings. I prefer to not have my Wes in the game. I love it when I know if I got to go to the bench on any of the interior positions, I got good old 71 waiting to come in the game. As a matter of fact, if I'm Washington, I'm going to take Wes Schweitzer. If we get to the midpoint of the season, he's healthy, and he's had to step in once or twice, and he's played well, I'm going ahead and extending that man. I'm not even letting it get to the end of the season. Because I love me some Wes Schweitzer. He signed a 3-year, $13 million deal when Ron and company first got here. This is the 3rd year of that deal. I think he's an essential piece of that offensive line. I want Wes Schweitzer back if I'm them. Anyway, I digress. Robert Parrish, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Robert writes, JDR defensive scheme leaves the middle open for tight ends and running backs. I mean, again, they played basic coverage. He got freaky and blitzed a couple of times, blitzed the safety. On one particular play, you had safety Bobby McCain coming off the edge. On another play in the red zone, you had safety. Jeremy Reeves. I always forget his damn name. Jeremy Reeves getting to PJ Walker for the sack. So he switched it up a little bit. He blitzed a couple of times. But for the most part, you keep it vanilla. My problem is even vanilla needs to be executed well. Because you're going to play some of these coverages. You call it vanilla all you want, but you're going to play cover 4. You're going to play cover 2. You're going to play cover 3 during the course of a game a ton during the season. So I need you to execute that shit better. I don't need on 3rd and 4. I don't need guys off 9 yards. That's not the technique I'm looking to utilize on a 3rd and 5. On 3rd and 8, I don't want my guys, backpedaling, having started to play at 8 yards. I don't want you backpedaling out of the screen and allowing a guy to turn you around on a simple post/slant route over the middle of the football field, an easy throw for the quarterback to make right in front of his face for a first down on 3rd and 8. Like, Danny, what are you doing, bro? How are you letting this man cross you over like that? That doesn't make any sense to me. That's not the Danny Johnson I saw last year in the slot either. So, again, and I thought Danny got cooked on the outside. I don't think he's an outside corner, though. I don't think he's a boundary dude. But he was getting cooked out there, too. So, it was a rough go of it for Danny Johnson. I told you, I left this game with my highest level of concern being for the back end of the cornerback room. We're not extremely deep back after our 3rd corner, which is Benjamin St-Juste. And I still like Danny Johnson. I'm not going to jump off with the Danny Johnson train after one game. I like Danny. I think he's going to be really good for us in more exposure, more opportunities. I think he's going to ultimately prove to be a good defender for us. But it was a rough go of it for him today. After Danny Johnson, I'm at a loss. And you see how quickly you can tap into your cornerback depth. I mean, Benjamin St-Juste pretty much was out for a good 2/3 of the season last year due to concussions. I mean, I'm not, as a matter of fact, let's get a piece of that wood real quick, but I'm not trying to speak that into existence or anything like that, but we know it's a possibility. William Jackson III dealt with a hamstring last year. He's dealt with some issues this year that caused him to miss the practice under the lights last week. So it's nothing for a guy to miss a game or two. That shit's scary this year. That shit's scary this year, if you ask me right now. Nobody that I saw today outside of Steven Parker, and I don't even know if he's a corner or if he's a safety, because when he was at Oklahoma, he was a safety. But he was the only guy that looked like he was trying to play some ball at the cornerback position. The rest of these dudes looked a little sketchy. Devontae Busby looked sketchy. The rookie, Sip, he looked a little sketchy on the opposite side at times when I was watching him. I wasn't impressed by just about anybody in that back end. Zachary Minor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Zachary writes, Del Rio is going to kill this team with these soft zone coverages. Playing 5 yards off the receiver are easy for a QB. Fuller overrated. Again, like the touchdown Fuller gave up, that I'm not putting that on Kendall Fuller. He's on the opposite side of that play, and the pressure would have gotten there had William Jackson III or Cole Holcomb or anybody would have just touched that man as he ran across the formation. Nobody, it's almost like he was invisible. He had some kind of cloaking device that he didn't exist. Nobody laid a finger on this man. He just goes right across the formation, and Kendall Fuller's expecting somebody to redirect him, because Fuller's initial job is to make sure that there's no action on his side, and there wasn't. But he's got to make sure that the running back doesn't leak out into the flats on his side, and then he can sag. Well, he was supposed to be able to have time to go up, make sure there's no action, and then fall back, because they were supposed to touch him. Nobody touched him. So now it makes his job increasingly harder to get back, because he has to do his job first and then get back. Because if he's got somebody out to his side, Fuller can't get to that play at all. You know, he's only even there because there was no action on his side. You're deeper than the deepest on your side of the football field. But he's got to play his responsibility first. And by the time he tried to get back, it was too late. That receiver got too much depth. Why? Because nobody touched him. And Sweat would have had the sack. All they had to do was reroute him one time, slow him down one time, and that's a sack or a throwaway. Again, it's the preseason. Del Rio is fine. Again, the story will be told when we get to the regular season. I'm not encouraged by what I saw today. But make no mistake about it, it's a preseason game. It's a preseason game. I'm not excited at the fact that the Panthers didn't play their starting receivers or running back, and they moved the ball with relative ease on our defense. We had a sudden change of possession. They had a chance to get a stop, and they couldn't do it, and they gave up a touchdown. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. And it's not like we had 2 or 3 defensive starters out. We had one guy out, and that guy's going to be out for at least the first game. Probably, if you're asking me, the first 3 games or so before he comes back in Chase Young. So you're going to have to be able to live without Chase Young for a little while till he comes back. I need y'all to be better, period. Vanilla or not, basic coverage or not, I need you to be better. It wasn't good enough today. Trevor Patch, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Trevor Patch. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, here to fire you up. Oh, it's too late for that. Same old trend. Scotty doesn't know. 3 and out. Not sticking with what works. D can't get off the field. JDR has to go. A 3-win team, best to let Ron go. Sell off the roster and hire Kyle Smith to rebuild. I mean, that's such a bad attempt at trolling. I can't even allow that to even linger and fester, right? That's clearly an overreaction. It's hyperbole. It's the first preseason game. If that's how you feel, you probably shouldn't watch any more games this season. And I know you're, like you said, you're trying to fire me up. It's not going to work because that you got to come with some real shit if you want to fire me up. That's not going to do it. But I can tell you this. I had no problems with what Scott Turner did today. I had no problems with Jack Del Rio's play calling. I need them to execute. What he did is what you're seeing from just about every team across the league. Standard practice. Vanilla, basic coverages, not a lot of exotic looks. You're not doing anything crazy. You're not game planning to stop that team. You're not trying to take away the things that they do well. You're playing cover 3. You're playing cover 4. You're playing cover 2. You're playing basic looks. I just need you to execute those basic looks. That's all. That's all. That's really the key here. Okay. When you see linebacker David Mayo over the middle of the field trying to run with a wide receiver up the seam, that's cover 2. That's cover 2. And you see the split safeties, it's cover 2. He has to get depth. He's trying. He's David Mayo. He can't run but so fast. I don't know what y'all want from him. The safeties have to be more reactive than that. If you're getting tons of depth as a safety and your linebacker isn't that fast, there's a huge hole between you and the linebacker. That's what happened. That's not on Jack Del Rio. It's cover 2. Everybody plays cover 2. That touchdown pass, that's cover 3. It's really simple, right? It's a simple concept. All William Jackson III had to do was reroute. That's it. He was close enough to reroute. He did it. And then nobody proceeded to touch this man as he ran through the entire defense. And so Kendall Fuller, who's on the opposite side of the play, is like, why is this guy so far behind me this quick into the snap? He shouldn't be that far because nobody touched him. That's not a bad call by Jack Del Rio. That's poor execution. Anyway, I digress. Landry Baldwin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Landry Baldwin, thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, Sam Howell is good. Reminds me of Kyler Murray. I wouldn't go that far, but he did show me some things. I was most excited about his playmaking ability, which he showcased today. Whether it's the 17-yard touchdown run, faking a guy out of his draws, getting into the end zone, or nearly getting sacked, escaping, rolling back out, finding a receiver, laying it off over the defense softly, perfect touch to Alex Erickson for a 40-yard gain. Even the ball that he threw up to Kelvin Harmon, giving him a chance, should have been caught. Should have been a big gain. Even could have been a touchdown if he catches it cleanly. But it's Kelvin Harmon. What are you going to do, right? So I thought he showed playmaking ability, if nothing else. I like that. Like it a lot. Let's see. B-Ball God, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy B-Ball God writes, B Mitch is hilarious. His reaction had me in tears after the missed PAT. He went through a full ride of emotions, and the game wasn't interesting till the last 10 minutes. The missed point after touchdown was frustrating. It was a bad snap by Cam Cheeseman. That ball, it didn't skip back there, but it didn't get back there cleanly. And so Tress had to pick it up off the ground. He set it down. Look, the operation wasn't clean, but Tress got that thing down in enough time for Joey Sly to make that kick. It wasn't, the timing wasn't the way you wanted to be. And for kickers, timing is everything. You throw off the time. I can tell you this, Justin Tucker still makes that kick. Okay. So I don't like making excuses. It'd be one thing if he didn't get it up in time or that ball was cocked sideways. That ball was down. It was where it needed to be. And the timing was slightly off. It affected him and he missed. But I needed him to still make that kick. Luckily enough for us, it didn't affect us because we went for 2 and we got it. But had we lost this game 20-19, you look back on that and you say, you cost us, So yeah, you don't want to miss. You don't want to miss those types of kicks. Let's see. Rob, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy Rob writes, I know it was a brief sample size, but Howell has a live arm and can move a bit. Thoughts on him as a future starter? No time soon? ? I've said this many a times. I talked about this when we were going through the draft process, especially when we thought we were going to be in the market for a quarterback. I said Sam Howell is one of the wild cards of this draft class. I like him. I don't love him. This was my analysis of him coming into this year's draft. I like him. I don't love him, but there are a lot of interesting traits. The reason I couldn't love him is his size. Like I want the prototypical big, hulking, strong-arm quarterback with athleticism. I want Justin Herbert. I want to look at my quarterback and say, damn, he looks like Justin Herbert, which is what we have now in Carson Wentz. Big guy, athletic, big arm, has all the tools you're looking for. That's what you want at the quarterback position. That's the ideal guy. What I don't want is a small quarterback that can't see over the line. But Howell checks off all the other boxes. Big arm, showed his athleticism last year at Chapel Hill, can make all the throws, smart guy, processes things quickly and well. And you saw that. All of those things were on display today. I said he's intriguing. He was very intriguing in the draft. He was a wild card. If he went to the right location with the right coaching staff, the right weapons around him, he could easily turn out to be the best quarterback of this draft class. But, we got him. We felt like it was a steal in the 5th round. I'm intrigued by him. After this game, I'm even more intrigued by him because now I see that this jump to the next level isn't too big for him. Clearly, he's capable of doing the things that, you have to do at this level to be successful. So now I just want to see more. But I've said this already. I want Wentz to be the guy. And I never want to see Sam Howell play in a meaningful NFL game for this organization if I had it my way. But clearly, if the Wentz thing doesn't work out, it's so refreshing to know that there's a prospect on the roster. This is the first time we've had this type of scenario since 2012 when we drafted Robert Griffin III and Kirk Cousins. We've never had another guy on the roster that we said, hey, man, if Alex Smith doesn't work, we got this guy over here. They tried it once with Nate Sudfeld. Didn't go well. Okay. But we've never had another guy that gives you hope on the roster. Now we do. So I'm excited about that. B-Ball God, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. B-Ball God, who writes, like Dak's returning punts, he goes north and south. He goes north. That's You don't want guys going south. He goes north. You know, the saying is, like, people used to say, you know, you want someone to do, like, if they made a total change, like they were mean, now they're nice. They did a 360. No, they actually did a 180. A 360 means you turned around and ended up in the same spot, which means you started out mean and you went all the way around the world and you came back and you were mean. You did a 180. You don't want guys going north and south. I don't want you running backwards. That doesn't benefit us. I want you running north. He gets downhill. He gets north quickly. All right, the whole north and south thing, that's stupid. Okay. But yes, to your point, he does get up the field. That one punt return he had, he didn't waste any motion. He didn't waste any time. He got right up the field and made it happen. So I'm intrigued by Dax Milne, but again, he also has to return kicks. Unless Ron's going to double back on what he said, which is, I want my return man to handle both responsibilities, which technically speaking, he could keep Alex Erickson, right, and just have him do kickoffs and have Dax still field punts. He could do that if he wants. There's no rule that says that if he's on the roster, he being Alex Erickson, that he has to do both. But Ron said, I want my guy, whomever that is, to do both, which right now, the only guy doing both that looks like he's going to make the football team is Alex Erickson. But Kyrick McGowan is the only other guy that is doing both at this current juncture. The Cole kid that they just signed, he does both, but he's not making the football team. So I like Dax Milne too. Thought it was a really good return. I want to see more. It'd be nice if we force the opposition to punt more than 2 or 3 times in a game so we can actually see some punt returns. That'd be nice too, right? Not have 2 or 3 punts, but actually have 7 or 8 punts. That way we can actually assess the punt returning situation. Hey, what a novel concept. Force a damn punt so we can see the punt return unit. All right. Got another super chat. This is from J Mark. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy J Mark writes, cornerback play has been an issue. Is it players or Harris? I like Coach Harris. You guys know that. I like his intensity. Now I don't know if, you know, what he's teaching, his methods, if they're sound or what. I just like his energy and what he brings to the table from that perspective. I can tell you this. We have never been overly talented in the secondary. Never. I can't remember the last time we felt like we've had a super talented secondary and that we've underachieved. We've been chasing good safety play since the passing of Sean Taylor, pretty much. We clung to guys like Brandon Merriweather and DJ Swearinger because we've been that thirsty for good safety play. But we really haven't had great safety play. The cornerback position has been hit or miss for us. You know, we've had solid guys. Kendall Fuller is really good. I like Kendall Fuller. I know some of you think he's overrated. I think you're wrong. I think he's a really good player. But we've had solid guys. Josh Norman, his first year here, was really good for us. He was really good. But outside of that, he was a really big disappointment for us. And so we've struggled at the cornerback. You know, Brashad Breeland, his first year, we thought we had a star. After that season, Antonio Brown was twerking on him and he lost his damn mind and he was never the same corner. So we've never had consistency at the cornerback position. We've had hits here and there. We've had hot spells. We had cold streaks, but we've never been consistently good in the secondary. And I'm looking at the cornerback position right now. And like a couple of years ago, we had Ronald Darby. He was fantastic, right? We let him walk. And he got hurt last year. So had he even stayed in Washington, he would have been hurt. That's been his MO throughout his career. So you don't feel bad about letting him walk. You just want William Jackson III to play better. And he wasn't terrible today. Like I said, the one throw they made to his side, he broke it up. Deep ball, he was right there, right where he needed to be, and so was Bobby McCain. I'm just disappointed that you don't lay hands on a guy on a shallow cross, over route. You just let him run right across the field. And you're right there. It's not like you were playing 7-8 yards off. You were playing 3-4 yards off. Touch him. Bump him. Feel him. Caress him. Love him. Hug him. Do something. I think it's the players, personally. If you ask me, I think it's the players. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes. Who was number 16? He did good. And number 41 laid that big hit. That was Stephen Parker. I told you that's the guy that I want to see more from. Now, again, the Stephen Parker that I'm familiar with went to school. And again, I don't know if this is the same Stephen Parker, okay? So I could be talking about a totally different guy, but the Stephen Parker that I'm familiar with went to Oklahoma, was a safety, got in the league, played with Dallas, played with Miami, with the Dolphins, was always viewed as a safety hybrid corner, but more of a safety than anything else. And this guy looked like he was playing corner for us today. I could be wrong, and he could have been playing some form of safety, but he looked like he was playing corner, and he looked like he was playing some damn good corner. You know, he was alert, he was physical, which that's where that safety background kind of comes into play. If this is the same Stephen Parker that I'm thinking of, he was instinctive, right? But he was also on time. So many times guys were there, but they weren't early enough. They were just a step behind. He was there on time every time, it seemed like, in this game. I like what I saw from Stephen Parker. He was physical. He was aggressive. He attacked the football. He attacked the receivers. I want to see more. And especially with the back end looking as sloppy as it looks right now, I thought he put some of the best tape of any of those guys vying for that final roster spot. I didn't think Corn Elder was any good today. You know, he had a route on an easy switch route. They ran a simple, you know, slant flat combo, and he's nowhere to be found. Corn Elder tries to tackle the guy, and he might as well have been a damn Bronco. He went for a ride. The guy's dragging him as they're going out of bounds. He's on his knees, still getting drugged as they're out of bounds. So I wasn't impressed with Corn Elder as either. So the whole back end of the cornerback position stands for Stephen Parker. I thought, you know, there's some teachable moments, but you want to flush this and move on to the next one. Let's see. Landry Baldwin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy Landry writes, not our business, but PJ Walker is better than Darnold. I don't know about that, but he gives you something that Sam Darnold doesn't, and that's that athleticism. He played well today, you know, did PJ Walker, but I've watched PJ Walker have those Sam Darnold type games where he's thrown 3 interceptions, right? I've seen that from him too. But he did look good in this game. So, for whatever it's worth, you're right. It's not our business. I could care less what PJ Walker or Sam Darnold are doing. But to your point, I did think he was better than Darnold today. But Darnold had a small sample size too. PJ Walker played a lot more than Sam Darnold did in this game. Burgundy Soldier, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Burgundy Soldier writes, sure hope JDR makes some adjustments. Still seems we're playing too soft. Uniforms look nice. Will look better with colored pants. QBs give us hope. I thought the uniforms were solid. I think they have to grow on me. I don't have any problems with it, though. And I think as the year wears on, they'll grow on me. They don't hit like the white on whites when we were the Washington Redskins or the Washington football team. They don't. That white on white they had on today doesn't touch the white on whites that we wore in the past. I think ultimately, though, the burgundy uniforms will be clean and they'll look good, whether it's burgundy on burgundy or burgundy on white. I think they'll look good, and I'll feel really good about those. And I think the blackouts will look dope. But the whites don't surpass the former white on whites. That's for sure. Colored pants maybe give it a little bit more flair. I don't know. Maybe the white tops. I know every uniform has a distinctive look outside of the burgundy one. I think the white uniforms, the tops, they have some of that color pattern and so many different things going on that I like. The numbers have that different shade in it and stuff. Like if you put on burgundy pants with that, it may clash with that. It may not look as clean. I don't know. I'm just talking, but we'll see. Maybe it will look better with different color pants. JDR definitely has to be better as a play caller, but today wasn't his fault. When it's his fault, I'll tell you I felt like it was his fault. I don't think today was his fault. Let's see. Jeffrey Worrell, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, I think Gibson's job may be in jeopardy. What do you think? Keep up the good work, Lou. I appreciate that, Jeffrey. Yes, I do think and when you say job, if we're talking starting job, yes. If you're talking overall job and roster spot, no. Is his starting job in jeopardy? You're damn right it is. I mean, he came into this thing with Brian Robinson breathing on his neck. Now, I think some people felt like Brian Robinson was breathing on his neck a lot closer than I really thought he was coming into camp. But the fumbles throughout camp put Brian Robinson squarely on that man's neck. And in the fumble on the second possession, put Brian Robinson in front of him with Gibby staring at the back of Brian Robinson's helmet. So right now, technically speaking, yes, he is in jeopardy of losing his starting spot. And he should be. Like, we can't keep letting this shit slide and have it be okay. But I think this is the time to give him another opportunity and to see what he does with it. And then you go from there, if anything, maybe you start to see a little bit more Brian Robinson. It doesn't have to be all Brian Robinson, but you see more Brian Robinson. Like, we weren't supposed to see Brian Robinson until Taylor Heinicke got in the game. That's how this was supposed to go. It would have been all Gibby and J.D. McKissic. And then when Heinicke came in, you were going to see the rookie at Brian Robinson, and he was going to take the bulk of the carries. Gibby effed it up to where Robinson was in with the ones, and by the time Heinicke came in, they was like, hey, Gibson, get out there. So now instead of seeing it in that dynamic where it's either Gibby or J.D. with the ones, now it should be Gibson and Brian Robinson and J.D. McKissic with the ones. And I think that's where you may see him start to really eat into his carries. I don't think it's going to be this Gibson to the bench, Brian Robinson 21 carries for 107 yards and a touchdown, and Gibson, 1 or 2 carries, that's it. It's going to be a gradual change. It's going to be Gibson starts out week 1, 18 carries, 72 yards and a touchdown, and Brian Robinson 5 carries for 22 yards. And then, it's going to start to shift. Gibby 14 carries, Robinson 9, Gibby 11 carries, Robinson 12. And then next thing you know, Robinson 17 carries, Gibson only 7. And that's how the change is going to happen. Now, if he keeps fumbling, it's just going to go straight to what I said at the beginning. Brian Robinson 21 carries and Gibson's going to barely see the field because they don't have time for that shit. Neither do we as fans. There's nothing more frustrating than turning over the football. And it seems like with Gibby, there's no in-between with his fumbles. Either we're going in for points when he fumbles or we're down by our own end zone when he fumbles. Either way, he's effing up the scoreboard, one way or the other. It's never we're right around midfield, we got a little drive going, and then Gibby puts it on the carpet. No. Either we're at the opposition's 18-yard line going in or the 8-yard line going in for points and he fumbles, or we're at our own 12 and he fumbles. Speaking of own 12, how about our kick returners effing up field position today? Like, that's that shit I don't like. If you're not getting back to the 25, don't bring the shit out. And I get it. Kyrick McGowan trying to make the football team. Bro, you 8 yards deep in the end zone. Don't do that shit again. Okay? And then you get back to the 17. Don't do that shit again. All right? And I get it. You're trying to make the team. What better way to make a splash than a 108-yard kickoff return? The likelihood is you're not going to get back to the 25. Now the offense is starting at its own 17. That's bullshit. And the first 2 possessions both started inside the 20-yard line. So I had a problem with that. I think the first one might have started at the 22. I don't even know if we made it that far. That first kickoff return by Alex Erickson, shit was weak. Let's see. Got a super chat here from Commander Wow. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, "Hey Lou, took the little Wow to her first game. She loved it. Very frustrating watching those penalties after Sam showed out. Overall, saw some good things. HTTC. Hashtag HTTC. That is great. I'm so glad that the little one got to experience her first game. And it was a beautiful, gorgeous day, as I mentioned at the top of the show. So it's a perfect game to take her to. Hope she had a ton of fun and wants to do it again. And this was actually a fun game, especially as you got into the fourth quarter. And to your point, I hated that the penalties impacted that final. Matt Corral didn't do anything special. Like, I hate the fact that they got into field goal range without him really doing anything on that drive. He had a stupid penalty by Jeremy Reeves, and that gave him a first down. First of all, how is that not intentional grounding? I'm confused. Somebody help me. The man's outside of the pocket, yes, but there's no receiver in the vicinity, and he didn't get it back to the line of scrimmage. Somebody help me how that's not intentional grounding. I was telling my wife, it's definitely intentional grounding, right? Because initially it was scooped up by Nate Gary and picked up, and they, the Chase Young and the rest of the defense, John Allen, all those guys running down there, congratulating him like he just sealed the deal. I'm like, that's not a fumble, guys. Come on now. Y'all know better than that. That's a throw, but it should be intentional grounding. And then for them to say illegal contact while the quarterback was still in the pocket, okay, cool. Well, how about these offset then? Where's my intentional grounding? I thought they missed on that, but I hated that they got in the field goal range strictly off of that and the face mask penalty on Shaka Tony. But yeah, that was a fun second half, especially when Sam Howell came into the game. Once again, I'm glad that you were able to take the little misses to the game, and that was fun. Hope you guys had a great time. Rob Yu, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Rob Yu writes, "Lou, it appears Gibby doesn't like starting and Harmon doesn't want to make the team." Harmon wasn't going to make the team anyway, but I mean, like literally every part of his body was already in the coffin, and he just had one hand stopping the coffin lid from shutting and them going ahead and putting him in the dirt. That drop today, that was literally Ron and Scott and company slamming the coffin down on his fingers, him going, ow, pulling it inside the casket, them slamming the shit shut. I wouldn't be shocked if he got cut. When the first 10 cuts happened, when they trimmed the roster from 90 to 80, I wouldn't be shocked if he's in that first 10. That drop was egregious today. You can't have that. He says, love the deep ball potential with Wentz. I just like the fact that they're chucking it deep. We didn't do that. We haven't done that really since Kirk left. So it's refreshing to see that, happening. And Gibby, he wants to start, but sometimes you squeeze so hard, it actually becomes counterproductive. And right now, he's inside his own head. You can tell. He's in his own head. Just do the things you've been working on. You've been working on protecting the football. As you go to the ground, 75% of his fumbles happen as he's going to the ground. It's not him fighting for extra yards, or it's not him, bumping into somebody. It's him going to the ground, and as he's going to the ground, he separates ball from body, and that's when it gets punched out. Do the things that you've been practicing. As you go to the ground, protect the ball, keep it against your body. Let's see. Got another super chat here. This one is from Johnny Boy 26. Thank you for the super chat, Johnny Boy 26. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, B-Rob running back 2, or 1, Sam QB 2. I don't see Sam overtaking Taylor Heineke this season at any point in terms of QB2. What I do see is if anything were to happen to Carson Wentz, I could see an instance, if we're not in it at that point, him leapfrogging Heineke and going to QB1 to see what this young fella can do. But if we're still in it, if we still have a pulse and anything happens to Carson Wentz, it's going to be Taylor Heineke. That's the guy they trust. That's the guy with the most experience. That's the guy that's going to come off the bench if anything happens to Wentz first. But make no mistake about it. We get to week 13, 14. We're no longer in it, which I can't see a way that takes place. But if we get to the latter portion of the season and we're already mathematically eliminated, that's when you just see the young fella get in. And let's see what he's got, because he's probably going to be your starting quarterback next year anyhow. So I don't see Sam elevating the QB2 unless something happens this season. B-Rob being RB1, definitely in the cards if Gibby can't hold on to the rock. It's really simple. Red Wings 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Howell better debut than everyone drafted before him? I think the sample size was a lot smaller for some of the guys like Malik Willis, for instance, didn't play as much as Sam did today. But he threw a touchdown pass. I know in Atlanta, Desmond Ridder threw 2 touchdown passes, including the game winner. So I don't know if you can say that with 100%. I didn't watch the game yet. I will have watched it by the time Monday rolls around and I get to do a podcast episode. But just from the initial reports, it sounds like it was a really good debut for Desmond Ridder in Atlanta. So I can't say that Howell's performance was better than his, but it's probably comparable. Howell scored 2 touchdowns. Neither were passing, but he scored 2 touchdowns. He accounted for 2 touchdowns. So I'd have to watch the rest of those games, and I will, to be able to make that assertion. I can't say that right now. Let's see if we have any more supers. And we do. Here's another one here. This is from RP84. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, RP54. If I see a comment from you, I will read it once again. Thank you. It says, represent the 757 area, Norview. Norview, you know what it is. Norfolk, stand up. We in the building, like always. 757, always in the building. If I'm in the building, the 757 is in the building, always. And specifically Norfolk, if we getting technical about it. So Norfolk, Norview, that's right up my alley. You know what I'm saying? But 757 all day long, all day strong. 7 cities. You know what it is. Let's see. We have any more supers? Robert Gamble Jr. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Robert Gamble Jr. writes, first game ever, and it was new team, same stuff. I mean, that was, yeah. I'm not gonna even try and sugarcoat anything. Yeah, and that's as a fan, you tell yourself things to make you feel better about situations. I always talk about sports being a microcosm of life. That's what we do as humans, right? It's called a defense mechanism. You tell yourself certain things to make you feel better about certain situations, even though you know the truth about what just transpired or what's about to happen. But you tell yourself, I'm okay, I'm fine, I don't care for real. Yes, you do. Or else you wouldn't be giving yourself a pep talk right now about not caring. I don't care about that. Yes, you do. You do. That's why you're talking to yourself about it right now. I told myself it's a new name. It's a new look. It's a new identity. New fight song. How about we just turn a new leaf? How about we stop doing the shit that stopped us from winning double-digit games? How about we stop doing the shit that shoots us in the foot, that stops us from being consistent and getting off to fast starts in seasons? How about we stop doing the shit that allowed us to be one of the worst franchises on and off the field? And instead, it's much of the same. Off the field, and again, small sample size, one preseason game, don't overreact, but it looks eerily similar. Okay? You can change the name, you can change the look, you can change the fight song, you can change the uniforms, but the shit still smells the same. You can put on as much deodorant, as much cologne and oils as you want. That shit doesn't substitute for a bath. Okay? Doesn't substitute for a bath. You still got to do the right things. You still need proper hygiene. I don't care how much smell good you have. That doesn't substitute for good hygiene and taking a bath. That doesn't substitute for you actually wiping your ass until there's no more brown showing. You want your underwear to stink? When you're finished peeing, then don't finish in the toilet, finish in your underwear. That'll make your underwear stink really fast. It doesn't substitute pulling your pants up with a couple of droplets still left to go in the toilet, and instead of having those droplets go in your underwear, you pulling your pants up or putting on some Manscaped isn't going to make that funk go away. Only proper hygiene is going to do that. We can change the name. We can change the look. We can change the fight song. But unless we start doing the little things correctly, it's going to be the same shit. Thank you for the super chat, Robert Gamble Jr. The Black Kid, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. The Black Kid writes, no Cam Sims thoughts. He played today. He got out there. I don't think he got targeted, but he was out there. I saw him. Let's see. RP50. I'm about to say RP55. Showing my age, right? RP84. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. RP84 who writes, represent 757 Norview. B-Rob looked good. First team D looked tired. With really no push. I thought the first team defense from the front four standpoint actually wasn't that bad. I actually thought they got pressure on those quarterbacks, Darnold and Baker Mayfield. And unfortunately, I didn't think the back end handled their end of the responsibility. Like I said, I gave you a few examples of guys getting pressure, getting to the quarterback. There was a play where Daniel Wise gets to the quarterback, and unfortunately, Baker Mayfield's able to get rid of the football and find an open receiver. You know, Jonathan Allen on a third down, bull rushes the guard right into the lap of Baker Mayfield, and he's literally grabbing Mayfield as he lets the football go. But Danny Johnson gets crossed over on a slant, right over the middle of the football field on 3rd and 8. It's a first down. Montez Sweat is, literally bearing down on Sam Darnold as he's constantly backpedaling. At this point, he's running out of real estate, and nobody touches the receiver, and he's able to just loft it over the head of Kendall Fuller right to the waiting arms of the receiver for the touchdown, and Rashad Higgins. And I thought they got pressure, man. I thought that there were enough times pocket collapse, quarterback had to vacate, that they did their job. I didn't think that – we know it goes hand in hand. You can get as much pressure as you want, but if guys aren't covered on the back end, the quarterback's going to find a receiver open. Same thing with coverage. You could be great for 4 seconds, but if that pass rush isn't hitting home and the quarterback's got 5, somebody's going to come open eventually. These two things have to work in tandem with one another, and it seemed that they were off, that the back end wasn't its sharpest today, and the front end I thought was solid enough. But you know what it is. 757, Norview, Norfolk, stand up. Let's see. Jeeps. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jeeps writes, Lou, long-time watcher, lurker from Canada. It's always good. I say this all the time. It's always good when a lurker comes from behind the shadows. Me being one myself, I know it's not the easiest thing to do, so I appreciate you and I applaud you. He says, a fan of Commanders since Nintendo days. Standouts, B-Rob, Howell, and Parker. Keep up the good content. Thank you so much, Jeeps. And I would agree with all 3 of those guys being guys that flashed. I would also throw Daniel Wise in there. I thought Fedarian Mathis also looked good today. I thought that I was pleasantly surprised by Amani. Why am I blanking on his last name? Y'all know who the hell I'm talking about, the tight end. I was actually pleasantly surprised with the way he played, getting reps with the ones and, catching the football when it was thrown to him every single time, except for the one time where Wentz tried to get him lit up. But I thought he looked good. And I thought there were, several other guys. I thought Dax Milne looked good on his couple of completions. I thought that Alex Erickson looked good, and I thought Milne looked good on the punt return as well. Like, there were some good takeaways. Like, I don't want to seem doom and gloom. There were a lot of good takeaways. I thought Wentz looked really sharp, and gave receivers an opportunity down the field. Got to give the Panthers credit. They made some plays on the ball. Like, the 3 incompletions, 2 were deep balls, and 1 was underneath to Amani Rodgers, and he was about to get Amani Rodgers' head taken off. So 3 incompletions, really looked like he had command and control of the offense. There were 1 or 2 times where he held on to the ball a little bit too long that made it a little uncomfortable. But all in all, the throw to JD was beautiful. Step up, slide, jump in the air, hit JD. Like, that's a little bit of that off-script magic that we've seen from Wentz in the past. And that was a big play on the 3rd down. So I thought there were some good things done, for sure. I just saw a comment in here that made me laugh. You guys enjoyed Doc Walker. It seems like a lot of you guys haven't had exposure to Doc Walker before. Like, this is your first exposure to him. This Doc Walker is a national treasure. If you haven't been exposed to him, he's the best. So I think some of you just getting a taste were really excited about what you heard. And he's got a lot of, Docisms, as I call them. The one about throwing the cow in the water, in the ocean full of sharks, was probably the best one-liner of the day. And that was the play he was referring to when I want to say the receiver got lit up by the linebacker, and I don't remember which linebacker it was. I don't remember what number it was, but it was a good hit. Really good hit. Anyway, Warren Jackson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Warren Jackson, writes, number 16, Parker, and number 41, Walker on D looked quick and fast. Trey Walker was, remember, the guy that retired and then unretired the next day. I thought he looked good too. I thought he played well. He did some really good things in this football game. I was pleasantly surprised by his play. I'd like to see him play a little sooner. And as I mentioned several times, and some of you have mentioned, Parker looked good. Stephen Parker played well. Again, I don't know what his designation is, because a lot of times when I saw him in coverage on defense, it looked like he was playing the cornerback position. So whatever the case may be, he played well too. Derek B, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Derek B, writes, Baker just got there and Darnold stinks. Gibby B backup. Maybe that's why they took him out so quickly, because he just got there. You're right. It's easy to forget that the man literally just got there. There's only so much that he knows and so much that you want to expose him to, being that he just got there. So I think that is a good point to make. And Darnold definitely stinks. And so that kind of frustrates you even more that we weren't able to get stops. Let's see. Going Commando. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Going Commando writes, Sup, Lou? Looks like the Colts fans are already freaking out about Matt Ryan and their wide receiver core. thinking 60-year-old Matt Ryan was a big upgrade was naive. I'm not going to tell them nothing. I'm going to let them feel it themselves. They got away one time with this old man quarterback shit when they went and got Phillip Rivers, because Phillip Rivers is a legitimate Hall of Fame quarterback. Matt Ryan is not. And so, to me, Matt Ryan's a really good quarterback, and he had a stellar career, but he's not Phillip Rivers. And so they thought they were upgrading over a younger, sprier, more athletic, and at this point, higher upside quarterback in Wentz. That's the thing that was laughable to me, is that they were willing to get rid of Wentz, which is why everyone around the league thought that Wentz has to be damaged goods. The Colts were willing to move on from him without having an immediate backup plan, without having an in-house answer. They were ready to move on from him at all costs. He must be terrible. Or are they just terribly run right now? Got to ask yourself. Andrew Luck retired early. Why? Because they failed to protect him. And ever since he retired, they haven't found another guy. Why? Don't ask me. I can't tell you why. We're now going on 5 years since Andrew Luck retired, or 3 years, I think it is now. This will be either year 3 or 4. I think he retired the preseason of 2019, I think. And yet 2020, 2021, 2022, and yet you still haven't found yourself a starting quarterback. You keep putting Band-Aids on it, because it was after he retired that next season, it was Phillip Rivers in 20. Last year was Wentz. This year it's going to be Matt Ryan. Is there a reason why we're playing around with all these quarterbacks now? They thought they were getting their guy in Wentz, and their owner decided he didn't want to get vaccinated. F him, get him out of here. That's what it boils down to. Did he play well against Jacksonville? Nope. Did he play well against the Raiders? Nope. And those were both post-COVID situations. The week before he got COVID, he was one of your heroes on the road at Arizona. Did I miss something? Anyway, I told you I don't love their receivers. I used to give so much credit to Chris Ballard as a GM. I'm starting to think that Chris Ballard was just so much better than Ryan Grigson, the guy that he took over for, that I'm starting to think maybe this guy isn't as good as I thought he was. Anyway, enough of that. Jay Hunter Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Jay Hunter Lee, writes, Brother Lou, good to see you again, man. Likewise, Jay Hunter Lee says, I got 2 things. 1, I didn't see much hustle in the first team defense. 2, you got to love Doc Walker's commentary. You do. You have to love Doc Walker. He's colorful. He's in your face. He's aggressive, and he promotes violence. There's not much to not like there. As far as the defense and the lack of hustle, I wouldn't say I didn't see a lack of hustle or a lack of sense of urgency, but I didn't feel like they were flying around out there either. So it was somewhere in between, like kind of going through the motions, but, you know, not to the point where you're like, this isn't acceptable. They got to be better, period, end of discussion. They got to be better. I felt like there should have been more energy out there. It didn't seem like the kind of energy that you would think would exist for the first preseason game, where you got all this pent-up energy and aggression because you've been going against your teammates all camp long, and this is the first time you've seen someone wearing a different color jersey, and now you're not listening to your coach tell you, hey, ease up, you know, show some restraint on the receivers. You're not hearing that shit. Now you're like, hey, go take that guy's head off. And I didn't see them eager to go take somebody's head off. So I won't say that they weren't hustling, because then you're questioning their heart, their grit, their determination. I'm not willing to do that. I'll just say they weren't aggressive enough, if that makes sense. Red Wings 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Red Wings 01 writes, by the way, I'm watching Bills versus Colts game right now. Let's just say now I know why they call Matt Ariza the punt god. This team will be dangerous. The Bills, that was a luxury pick, right? They're a Super Bowl contender. Anybody that knows football knows the Bills are a scary team. Their quarterback has been on the verge of being in the MVP discussion the last 2 seasons, and this could be the year that he finally breaks out, puts it all together. They got all the pieces they need. They're going to be dangerous. And you're right. The punt god was just, to me, icing on the cake. Guy can punt. Guy can kick field goals. Ridiculous leg. They got everything, man. They're not lacking for anything in Buffalo. Alex, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Alex writes, Mega wants to know why you thought 12-5 is possible, or why I thought it was, or why do I think it's still possible? I haven't wavered on 12-5. You think because of one preseason game, I'm switching up? I'm not. 12. Why do I think 12-5 is possible? And deep down, you want to know that. Don't ask on behalf of Mega. Mega can super chat if he wants. You ask the question. I think we can be 12-5 because I think this offense has a chance to be dynamic, and I think this defense has a chance to be good enough against the caliber of opponents that we will be playing this season. Nothing has changed. It's one preseason game. I feel good about the offense. I felt good going into the game. I still feel good leaving this game. I don't necessarily love what I saw defensively, but it's the first preseason game. And once again, I feel like when we get into the regular season, you will see us game planning. You will see this defense come alive. And against the teams we're playing, second-year quarterbacks like Mills and Lawrence and Fields and Lance, we'll have opportunities to take advantage of, we hope, take advantage of some second-year quarterbacks trying to figure things out. Meanwhile, you got teams that really want to run the football. Maybe if you can slow down the rushing attack, right? Force them to have to throw it. Teams like, the Browns with whomever's at quarterback, when we see them, more likely than not, it'll be Deshaun Watson, but we'll see what happens with the NFL. The Titans with Ryan Tannehill, who had a mental breakdown this offseason, and teams like that. I'm interested to see how we do. The Atlanta Falcons are on the schedule. Like, this is, again, nothing's changed. I love this offense, and I love the potential of this offense. I love the schedule and how it shakes out for us. We have to take advantage of it, of course. And then I think the defense is going to be good. It wasn't good today. It was frustrating today. But I think Benjamin St. Juste didn't play, right? Chase Young isn't back yet. I think this defense has a chance to be really good. And so I'm not wavering. I'm not waffling. I don't know what you're looking for, but 12-5 is still within reason. And if that switches up after one preseason game, I don't know what else to say to you. LT, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. LT writes, showing rival respect. You have a great show, Louie. You love the wrong team. You're probably right about that. I probably do love the wrong team, but I could never switch up. It's in my veins. It's too late. It is what it is. He says, but I've been down with you since your reference of Deebo Samuel as in, so it wasn't, he said, as an all-true man when San Francisco beat Dallas. Good work, go Birds. It wasn't Deebo Samuel, I would say that for. It had to be somebody else that forced me to pull out the Alexander O'Neal reference. I can't remember who I used to do it for, though. But with Deebo, I always used to go, Deebo Samuel. Who? Deebo. I'm going to just go ahead and tuck mine in. That's what I would always say with Deebo Samuel. But I forgot who I used to say. Oh, it was Todd Gurley I used to say that with. Not Deebo Samuel. It was Todd Gurley. He's an all-true man, yeah, baby. Anyway, thank you for the love, LT. Greatly appreciate you. And I think it's actually you who likes the wrong team, not me. But we're fighting over apples and oranges at this point. Just Andre, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB who writes. I thought Milo did fine, was better than Mayo. Well, they trust Mayo more, and Mayo is more competent at getting everyone lined up and attacking the line of scrimmage. Milo Eifler is probably the better athlete he is the better athlete of the two, but he's probably got some more seasoning to do. But look, you can look at David Mayo all you want. He's not going anywhere. So your focus should be elsewhere. Leave David Mayo alone. That glob of Mayo is going to stay there. It's not going anywhere. Let's see. I got a super chat here from Jordan Like the GOAT. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Writes, thoughts on Trey Walker and Nate Gary. I thought Trey Walker was flying around the football field. So I was impressed with him. Ron talked about really liking the young undrafted rookie from Idaho and felt like he had a future when he talked about him when he initially decided to retire. Now I see why. I like him too. I want to see more. I thought Nate Gary was solid. Nate Gary got pressure on the quarterback once. He scooped up what they thought was a fumble. I knew from the jump that wasn't a fumble. I thought he had good coverage on one play. So I thought Nathan Gary had a good introduction to being a Commander in the fan base. But again, it was against fourth stringers, right? Third and fourth stringers. So I need to see more. But thought he was solid. C. Law, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. C. Law writes, was at the game today. Like some of what I saw. Robinson looking like a legit running back. Howell looked good too. The future? ? Also loved what 16 was doing. Stephen Parker. So Robinson looks like a legit running back. We knew that. We knew he was a professional running back when we drafted him. That was the consensus. So I'm not surprised at what he did today. Disappointed in what Gibson did, but not surprised by what Brian Robinson did. All he did was pick up the pieces. They handed him the baton, and all that man knows how to do is run. So he did what he's always done. He ran with it. Not mad at him. Howell looked good. The future, again, way too early. Small sample size. It's the first preseason game. Don't get carried away. Okay, I like what I saw. I like the playmaking ability. I don't want him to look trash, right? Like he checked off all the boxes. He looks like he belongs. Now let's see how he looks next week and then the week after that. And then let's hope we never have to see him again until next year. But again, you want him to look good when he's out there on the football field. He didn't look overwhelmed. The moment never looked too big for him. And that's a positive. And Stephen Parker looked good. We've talked about that multiple times. I agree. I thought he looked really good. And I'm anxious to see, I want to do some work on him just to see like where he is in the discussion. Is he a corner? Is he a safety? Do they have him designated as just a DB, which he doesn't have a designation? Like how far down the depth chart is he? Like he could be this year's Torrey McTyer for all I know. There's opportunity at the back end of the cornerback position. I've already talked about that going into camp, during camp, and tonight. I've talked about that already. So I actually want to see where he resides right now on the depth chart. And does his play in this game particularly push him up a little bit? And maybe next week against Kansas City, we see him get in the game a little bit earlier. I don't know. We'll see, because Torrey McTyer was kind of the same trajectory last year. Started out, no one was talking about him, had solid camp, started to make plays into the preseason, and all of a sudden he became a household name, and everybody was like, yo, you got to keep Torrey McTyer. The same thing happened with Roberts last year. Darryl Roberts was on the outside looking in until that terrible third preseason game where everybody pretty much mailed it in except him. And Ron was like, yeah, it was a couple of guys that made the team, and Darryl Roberts was one of them. Could Stephen Parker be one of those guys this year? We're going to see. There's an opportunity at the back end of the roster at the cornerback position. That is for certain. Let's see. The Talk Heavy Podcast. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, people always run through our zones untouched. JDR, thumbs down. That's a problem for me. And that's coaching, right? Like, there needs to be emphasis on, nobody should be running through our zones unmolested. We all have jobs to do. And, your first priority should be lay hands on a guy. Pass him off to the next defender, but pass him off to that guy staggering or running sideways. Don't Don't allow him to get a running start and just run through the zone. That's what happened on the first third down for Carolina. Like, we're in zone, and there's a shallow cross. A shallow cross should never be that wide open in zone coverage. Now, maybe I'll go back and watch it, and I'll see that it was man-to-man, and they ran a pick, and somebody got picked off, and he was that wide open because of that. But from what I saw, my vantage point, it looked like zone, and the linebacker got preoccupied with a mesh concept where the first guy crossed his face, and instead of him staying at home, he ran with him. Nobody came across with this guy. Nobody touched him, and so he was wide ass open. Baker Mayfield dropped it off, and he's able to run for an additional 15 yards after the catch. And I'm like, where the hell is the defense at? That is, to me, a coaching thing. You have to emphasize we must put hands on receivers. No free passes around here, man. No free lunch. If they want to eat, they got to pay. Too often, people are allowed to eat free lunch on our defense. I'm sick of it. All right. Got another super chat here. This one is from Martin Matthews. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double M, my guy, Martin Matthews writes, hey, Louie, sorry for joining so late. No need to apologize. You're late, but you're still great, bro. Says, but I was impressed by Wise, 98, for Darian Mathis. Number 8, that was Brian Robinson. Number 4, that's Taylor Heineke. Howell and Dax. The star of the game was Rick Doc Walker, the big uglies. I thought Taylor Heineke was okay. He threw a pick, though, so he couldn't have – I wasn't impressed by Taylor Heineke. He did Taylor Heineke things. The scramble for the first down on one play, a couple of the throws were solid, but he did Taylor Heineke things. Those are the things I expect from him. I don't like the interception. That took points, scoring opportunity off the scoreboard, so I don't love that. As far as Wise, I agree. I thought he was good. I thought Fedarian Mathis flashed. I talked about that already. Everybody saw Brian Robinson and the potential that he brings to the table. Howell was outstanding. And I thought Dax Milne, as well as Alex Erickson, were both really good in today's game as well. So I agree with you. And, yeah, for a lot of you, Rick Doc Walker was the star of the show. But if you've been exposed to Doc before, that wasn't new to you. And so you're not blown away by him. I enjoyed it better than Joe Theismann being in the booth. You know, for all those years, it was Joe. Joe's such a homer. You get tired of hearing that shit. You know, all the positivity. No, give me the reels. I'm a grown-up. I can handle it. Give me the reels. That's what Doc Walker's going to give you. And sometimes he'll even skew towards giving you too much of the reels to the point where you're like, whoa, Doc, reel that shit in, bro. Like, again, I told you, he was like, on the third down, we got after Sam Darnold, and he was like, yo, I want him to put their helmet under his chin strap. Whoa. This ain't 85, Doc. You know, we're not taking quarterbacks out in the back, you know, out to the pasture in the back. We can't. That's 15, bro. Can't do that on third down when we're getting off the field. But he was getting excited, you know. Doc likes violence. So, anyway, I digress. Thank you for the super chat, Martin Matthews. Gary B, stand up. You are officially the newest member of the MOBB. Glad to have you, Mob. You know what to do. Welcome Gary B with open arms. Show him what it's like to be a member of the MOBB. Looking forward to chopping it up with you in the future. Gary B, welcome to the squad. Glad to have you. Red Wings 01, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, yeah, same Stephen Parker. Also liked number 59, Nate Gary. I thought Nate flashed as well as Trey Walker. So that is the same Stephen Parker. Okay, I'm not tripping. That's what happens when you do your draft work, you know. And so 3-4 years ago, I was heavy into the draft, doing it for each and every single team, which is why I love doing that, because you run into players like a Stephen Parker and you remember him because you did the film work. And so he flashed. I know that. He's not super old. He's probably somewhere in that 25, 26-year-old range, because he was in the draft probably about 3 years ago or so, maybe 4 max. So he's in that 25, 26, 27 range. He's not old. I like him. I don't love him yet, but I like him. I want to see more. And I thought Nathan Gary was solid today too. I agree. Definitely. Let's see. Black Dollars Media. Stand up. You officially in the building as the newest member of the MOBB. Greatly appreciate you, Black Dollars Media. Mob, you know what to do. Show Black Dollars Media some love. Welcome him to the squad. As always, look forward to chopping it up with you. So grateful that you decided to join. Can't wait to chop it up with you here in the near future. Black Dollars Media, welcome to the squad. Welcome aboard. All right. For those of you out there, while we get into the next super chat, got my LTN exclusives up and running. If you want to be a part of it, whether it's the Soul Survivor pool or the weekly pick'em pool or the league, the Winners and Losers League, which is a year-long league, to show how good you know the league, go to the website LouieTeeNetwork.net and hit the LTN exclusives button to join up. Down in the description of this video, I will have links at the end, and I will pin the comment also about where you can go to join. So check all of that out, and if you want to be a part of it, please do join the fun. All right, let's get to the next super chat. It's from Khalil Commanders. Double up. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up. Khalil Commanders, who writes, Heineken is the best ever for backup. Heineke is solid. Best ever is a bit of an exaggeration, but I feel really good about Heineke as our backup. I do. I really, truly do. Redskins for life. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Redskins for life. Thank you for the super chat. If I see a comment from you, I will read it. Martin Matthews, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Double M. My guy, Martin Matthews writes, hey, Louie, did anyone talk about the taunting call and the losing 15 yards after gaining 10 and a first down? Other than that fumble, that was the most frustrating play of the game. That was a 40-yard gain on that play, and then we had to walk it back 15. So I talked about it briefly. It's not a big deal. I mean, it was Reggie Bonifant. You don't want to see that from any player on your team, but it's a guy that's not going to make the football team. I'm not tripping about that. But, you know, that's not a direct reflection of a Ron Rivera coach team. We don't make those types of mistakes. Generally speaking, we don't self-destruct. And so that's not something that worries me that much. But that was a frustrating play. You get 40 and you got to give 15 of it back. That's terrible. Martin Matthews, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Double M, writes, hey, Louie, I forgot that second and third string O-line was balling today. They did a really good job of protecting for the most part. You know, Howell came in. He took a couple of sacks. You know, how much of that was on the offensive line? I think some of it was. I think some of it was on him, you know, being a rookie, you know, and having the process being sped up a bit. But all in all, I thought the lines, you know, did a pretty solid job for the most part throughout the game. I would agree with that. Let's see. Derek Caldwell. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Derek Caldwell writes, Wentz better suited for Turner's offensive style. Shh, haters. I told you this is an offense tailor-made for the skill set of a Carson Wentz. I think he's going to thrive in this offense, which is why I am bullish on the season. Looking at what Scott Turner likes to do, how he likes to call games, looking at Carson Wentz's skill set and what he likes to do, I think it's a match made in heaven. The two will mesh well together. And I think ultimately that's what's going to allow us to light the scoreboard up and give us a chance to win ball games, despite the defense maybe not always having their fastball. But we're going to have to get to that point. We're not going to open the gates, you know, week one against Jacksonville and put up a 40 spot. I don't think we're putting up a 40 burger week one. It's not impossible. I don't see it happening, but I could see us gradually working our way, you know, by week 7 or 8. Now, if you got some spotty defense, your ass is in trouble because we clicking on all cylinders. I could see that happening, you know, by the time we get to the, you know, middle portion of the season. So I love Wentz in this offense. And that's why I felt so good about, the trade is I sat on the trade out because I actually went back and watched my initial trade reaction video to see how much I've changed on Wentz since we got him. And a lot of the things that I said then, I'm saying now, there was just more, there was more reluctance to buy into the trade because in my mind, I'm like, this is his third team in 3 years. This is the second team that has given up on him. Mentally, there has to be something off, right? Like from a physical standpoint, I know what he's capable of. But the mental side has to be off. That I didn't. That's not the intel that I gathered from him in Indy. Yeah, in Philly, definitely. But that's eons ago, right? Indy was the one where I was like, okay, this is latest stop. That this shows me if he's growing or not. Okay, because when you first get somewhere and you're treated a certain way and you're coddled, and then you don't get your way, it's hard. And this is Wentz. We're talking about a guy that was the big man on campus at North Dakota State. And then he was the big man on campus at Philadelphia. You come in, you win right away. It's Pennsylvania. It's, the new big contract. It's your team. You can do no wrong. And then all of a sudden, you're doing wrong, right? It's hard to accept that initially. And he's still a young man at that time, right? You go to Indy, and now that's a learning experience in Philadelphia. How things ended there, how it deteriorated so quickly. That's got to be a learning experience. If you don't learn from that, then you're Robert Griffin III. Now I have a problem, and I don't think you can be my starting quarterback. Well, he didn't take that same baggage to Indy. From the players and the teammates that he had, the coaches, and then watching the Hard Knocks, I know that this was a Jim Irsay problem. And Jim Irsay made it a rest of the organization problem. Y'all either get on board or I'll find someone else that will. I don't want Carson Wentz as my quarterback. And so either you with me or you against me. Either you get down or you lay down. Well, if you're Chris Ballard and you want to keep your damn job, hey, whatever you say, boss, I'm on board with it. Matter of fact, I'll start trashing him in the media too, just to double down. You couldn't get Frank Wright to say anything bad about Carson Wentz. You know why? Because he still believed in him. He vouched for him to come to Indy. And Frank Wright, after the season, when everybody else was dogging him in that Indy organization, said Carson Wentz can still be a top 10 quarterback in this league. He didn't say that because he likes Carson Wentz. He says that because he believes Carson Wentz still has that ability. And you're not telling me that he didn't still want him there. So trust me, when Matt Ryan falls flat on his face in Indy this year and they stink, because it's a realistic possibility that can happen. I don't know if it will or not. But if that does happen, Frank Wright's going to be saying, if he gets canned, y'all effed me by getting rid of Carson Wentz. Y'all made my bed, and now I got a lie in it, but I didn't ask for that bed, and I didn't ask for those covers. I didn't ask for that pillow. You gave them to me. Anyway, I digress. Let's see. Mark Mullinex, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. My guy Mark Mullinex writes, it's like we are the Cowgirls with Tony Slow-Mo. Again, preseason week number 1. I got riled up earlier because it's the same shit, different toilet, but it's preseason game number 1. There were a lot of good takeaways from today's game, but there's some things that should be alarming. Right? Like you can't gloss over it and just throw the blanket of it's week 1 of the preseason on it and act like it doesn't exist, not when it's been a problem in the past. So, if your kid acts bad in school during the school year and his grades were terrible and he's got to go to summer school, you can't just say, well, it's summer school. No, your kid was terrible during the school year too. It's a problem. Yeah, it's summer school. It's not the real thing technically, but still, it's a problem. I don't want this shit carrying over until the next school year. So I would like them to clean up some of the issues we saw in the game today. All right, let's see. J-Mark, Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, J Mark. Who writes, until we get out of our own way, we will be the same team with a new name. Talent/football IQ is important, and we lack that at times, i.e. 39 and 54. 54 or 58. Either way, the Jeremy Reeves penalty, it was dumb, but if he didn't do it, it would have been a touchdown. If Matt Corral saw that receiver, which I'm assuming he did, which is why he didn't throw the football. But had he not done that, that guy was going to run right by him for a touchdown. You just hate to see him out of position like that. Why are you flat-footed in that situation? Anyway, I'll never blame a guy for hustling. You know, Shaka Toney turned the corner. You see the quarterback. You're getting pushed in the back as you're trying to grab him. You're just trying to grab onto something. You want, you know, when you reach out to grab, you're not trying to grab the helmet. You're just trying to grab a piece of the jersey. But whatever you touch, you're gonna grab it. And he happened to grab the helmet. I can be upset, but I'm never gonna fault a guy for giving me maximum effort trying to get to the quarterback. Never. I'm not mad at that. I hate it. I hate the penalty, but I'm not mad at that effort. To me, that's not low IQ football. That's just unfortunate circumstances. But we can be a low IQ football team at times, you know. But that, to me, that wasn't low IQ football. Let's see. Have we reached the end? Not yet. Khalil Commanders. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Lou, always say sip slow. I'm drunk now. 15-2 for the Commanders. First of all, you can't be any higher than 12. And 12 is pushing it. Honestly, I've said, you know, many a times 11 is the magic number. But I said 12. I'm sticking with 12 because that's what I really, truly want. But what you want and what you get are two different things. I think 11 is really the magic number for me. And probably more realistic too. But 15-2 is ridiculous. It's absurd. You got to be dominant on both sides of the football. And you can't have special team hiccups either to be 15-2. You know, almost everything has to go right for you. Unless you have an Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, you know, one of those types of quarterbacks, 15-2, you got to be damn near perfect in every aspect of the game, which we are far from. So who knows? We'll see. Could this be the 2015 Carolina Panthers? It could happen, right? We have the pieces for it to turn into that. But after watching this game, it ain't no way you're going to come away from this game screaming 15-2. Okay. Warren Jackson, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. My guy Warren writes, Alexander O'Neal, Saturday Love. That's the joint. It's a lot of joints with Alexander O'Neal, man. I mean, that's my guy. But yeah, of course, him and Sherelle made some classics. Okay. You don't want me going down the R&B road because it's a long, long road and I can go. All right. But that was a classic for sure. Let me just say this, Khalil. Put the cup down. You're drunk, bro. You're drunk. I'll take you home. Get in the car. I'll take you home. You can't drive. Give me the keys. Let's see. Pac-Man D3. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy, Pac-Man D3. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Writes, love the content as always, Lou. At one point, I heard Doc say, we got to throw cows in the ocean and let the sharks go and get them. I was dying. Yeah, that was one of the classic lines from the night. My wife absolutely had a blast with that one. That's just one of many Doc-isms. You know, he always talks about Neanderthal football. You know, he loves talking about the physical nature of the game. And he talks about the trenches a ton because that's where the real warfare takes place. He's always talked about if he had a choice, if all things are equal between a guy that grew up with AC and a guy that grew up without AC, he's taking the guy without AC because he's dealt with adversity and he's crazy, you know. That's the kind of stuff you hear from Doc Walker, right? Like that's why you got to love Doc, right? That's where I got the can't, bust a grape from. That's Doc Walker. Like very influential, very in your face and aggressive without even cursing, like I just love Doc, man. He's got a way of painting very vivid pictures with words that you wouldn't put together normally, right? He's one of a kind. He's a one of one for sure. Brent Collins, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy Brent writes, bruh, let's talk our ish this season confident. Again, I'm not backing down. I think this is a 12-win team. I've assessed the situation. I feel good about this roster. And after seeing the offense today, because I told you, the driving force in the past has been the defense. That's no longer the case for me. The driving force is going to be the offense. This is an offensive league anyway. I need the defense to come to the party, though. I don't need them to drop the offense off at the party and then leave and say, hey, call me when you're ready to go. No. I need you to come to the party with me, okay? We're going together. We're going to turn up, and when it's time to leave, we leave together. Don't drop me off and expect me to score 38 and you give up 35, and that's how we win in games. No. You bring your ass to the party, too, and we can win some of these games 38-24. We can win some of these games 34-20. Don't drop me off and expect me to have all the fun by myself, but you letting the other team get off too. So for me, if I'm going to talk my shit, I'm going to talk my shit because I have confidence in this offense. I think the defense is going to be better because of the level of competition that we'll be playing against. This is more like the level of competition we played in 2020 when the defense was dominant, and less like the competition we played last year when we played arguably the toughest quarterback schedule in NFL history. That's why I'm confident. But again, I'm not going to talk my shit until they give me a reason to talk my shit. I'm just going to have a quiet confidence about myself. They give me reason to talk, and you're going to hear me loud and clear. Thank you for the super chat, Brent Collins. James H., thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, James H., writes, does anyone else see Kendall Fuller needs to be cut and Gibson sat down? Seems like we're scared to hurt these guys' feelings. Shaking my head, we look soft. Kendall Fuller, again, I don't agree with that assessment. And anybody that thinks Kendall Fuller needs to be cut, you need your head examined. James, what are you talking about, guy? I just told you that our depth at corner is borderline abysmal. It's scary even. And you want to cut a starter? I mean, where's the psychological sense in that, player? You need to wash your face and get your mind right. I mean, what are we doing? And Kendall Fuller's not bad, okay? Don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe. That's a false narrative. He's a good corner, a really good corner, a damn good corner. Gibson probably will get sat down. I hope he gets another opportunity. I truly do. But like I said, there's only so much I can do for him. Like, I can't keep protecting him if he's going to keep putting the ball on the carpet. You keep putting the church's money on the floor, there's nothing I can do. Nothing I can do. Finesse Ventura. Thank you for the super, or stand up, Finesse Ventura. You are officially in the building as the newest member of the MOBB, Finesse Ventura. Thank you for your patronage. Looking forward to chopping it up with you in the future, mob. You know what to do. Show Finesse Ventura some love. Finesse Ventura, welcome to the squad. Hopefully we can finesse some of these teams throughout the season and have some fun along the way. Look forward to chopping it up with you. Welcome to the MOBB. Let's see. Timothy Teeler. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Timothy writes, I think our first team did a pretty good job today. Specifically the first team offense. I actually like what they did. Despite the 3-and-out, despite the fumble, I thought that they looked in sync. There looked to be synchronicity and continuity there. I thought that they didn't look like, even the 3 and out wasn't a funky, nasty, dirty 3 and out. It was a little gain on first down, little gain on second down, third and manageable. Hey, Carson took a shot. Okay, I can live with that, right? I can live with that. We can't talk about wanting to take shots, then when we take them and it results in an incompletion and we got to punt, you mad. No, you take those shots because that's what the elite offenses do. On 3rd and 3, an elite offense isn't looking for 4. They're looking for 34. Because that's what you do. They're sitting at the sticks. That's what they're predicting you're going to do. They're expecting that. That's when you go over the top. I had no problems with that. That 3 and out didn't bother me one bit. I didn't like the fact that we went 3 and out, but I didn't have a problem with it. I had a problem with the fumble by Gibby. And I love the fact that they were able to bounce back. Brian Robinson entered the game, and then they marched right down the field and got a touchdown. The defense, however, I held them to a different standard because of the Panthers having a quarterback that literally just got there 3 weeks ago, and a offense that didn't feature their top 2 wide receivers, their best running back, who's ultimately their best player, and they still were able to move the football with relative ease on us, especially on 3rd downs. That's not something that satisfies my soul. But as a wise woman also said, you won't break my soul. No, you're not going to break my soul, not after one preseason game. Alex, Mega, whoever else is out there, I'm not in the comment section, so I shouldn't throw you in there, Mega. But Mega, you be on the low trying to say some slick shit. So Mega, Alex, 12 and 5. You're not going to break my soul after one preseason game. Okay? It's 12 and 5. It's 11 and 6. Okay? Just so you know. Let's see. Timothy Taylor, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Timothy writes, loved our wide receivers and Wentz today. Defense will turn up. I thought they were solid. I liked what I saw from the receivers at every level. Even Alex Erickson and Dax Milne, I like what I saw from them as well. So I don't think Mark and Michelle is going to be a factor when it's all said and done. I watched him today. That catch, the one catch he had, that brother jumped in the air and barely caught that shit with his shoulder, neck, and shoulder pad, neck, chin strap, everything other than his hands. I'm good. And he might actually have great hands, but that was an opportunity to snatch that thing out of the air with your hands, and he didn't. So I'm not blown away by that. Let's see. Any more comments? That might have been the last one. Yes, that was the last comment. So, let me say, I thought De'Ami Brown played well today. De'Ami had a couple of catches. De'Ami took a shot. Heineke got him lit up. He got up, and on the very next play, he went right back to him, and he made a completion. And the first catch he made was contested. I like that. De'Ami looks stronger. He looks more assured of himself. He's going to be a factor this year, I think. So I was pleased with him. Just like Timothy just said, I was pleased with the receivers today. You know, Terry had a good catch and run. Obviously, Curtis looked good. De'Ami had a couple of catches. I love to see that. Alex Erickson, Dax Milne, guys that we think are going to be on the back end of the roster. They look good, had some catches. And Dax had a bootleg catch, good throw by Howell, and turned up. And then he looked fluid. He looked athletic. I was like, okay, I see you, Dax. Okay. So I like this group overall, the wide receivers as a whole. I think this is going to be a really strong group. And we knew that. We felt that way. And I think they're showing us that. And we didn't even tap into the Jahan Dotson aspect of this offense yet. So a lot to be excited about. Anyway, I digress. That's going to do it for me, your man, Louie T. First preseason game in the books as the Washington Commanders, 23-21 defeat at the hands of the Carolina Panthers. It was a fun fourth quarter, you know, slow, sluggish start as we're accustomed to seeing with this team. Still a lot needs to be done to rectify some of the problems, but all in all, I actually thought this was a solid showing by the team, and I'm looking forward to seeing them next week in Kansas City. I'm actually excited that we're playing the Chiefs in what is ultimately the dress rehearsal game. So you're going to get Mahomes, you're going to get Travis Kelce, you're going to get the new look Chiefs offense. That should be fun for this defense and a good test for them. And we'll see if Mahomes cuts through this defense like a hot knife through butter. And I also want to see what our offense is able to do in their second exposure to a different team other than their own. So I'm excited. I really am. And I think I left this game just as encouraged as I came into this game. So with that said, got one more super chat, actually two more super chats. James H, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. James H writes, bruh, Fuller is on everyone's highlight. Just look. I'm not saying that Fuller's a shutdown corner, and you'll never hear me say that, but he's a good NFL corner. He's one of the better number 2 corners in the league. And you're going to give up catches in this league. But Kendall Fuller is a really good corner. He's instinctual. He understands route combinations and concepts. He's a smart football player, probably the highest IQ player we have on the defensive side of the football. There's a lot to like with Kendall Fuller. And he usually catches the football when it's thrown to him. He's a guy that doesn't drop the football. If you make a mistake in his general vicinity, you're going to pay for that mistake. Whereas a guy like Percy Butler, as I said earlier, got 2 wet ass cheeks for hands, slippery, ball right through his damn hand. You can't ask for it any better than that. So I like Kendall Fuller, and I'll defend him until the cows come home. You can talk all you want about him. You can say what you want about him. I'm a Kendall Fuller fan. I think he's a really good football player, and one that we desperately need at that. Timothy Teeler, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, my guy. Timothy writes, our O-line was nice as well. They will get better. I like them, and they will get better because we didn't even have all 5 of our starters tonight, this afternoon. So I think they're going to be even better and much improved when you get Chase Roullier, who's the brains of the operation, back, and get Trey Turner in there. And I think they have a chance. I was impressed with Andrew Norwell. There was a lot being made of him this offseason. He got out there on that screen. I thought he did some good things. That touchdown run by Brian Robinson, him and Charles Leno cleared out some space on that left side. So I was impressed. But remember, Andrew Norwell's problem isn't run blocking. His problem is pass protection. So, again, we'll see if that rears its ugly head at some point. But I was impressed with what we got from the offensive line as well. So, Mike G2, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Mike G2 writes, what's up, Lou? It's good with you. Says, love the content as always. Thanks. I appreciate you as well. Thank you for the support and the time and the energy that you put forth to continue to help the Louie Tee Network prosper. Greatly appreciate you, Mike G2. All right. And so, with that said, we will reconvene on Monday, as I assume that the team will be back out on the practice field then. I will probably have a podcast on Monday. That is the hope. And we'll be able to talk about all the games, not just Washington's game from over the weekend. But until then, I am a Washington fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Washington spirit will never die. Washington spirit will never fold until we meet again. Post up and take command. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I most certainly will. And we will come back again on Monday. And again, if you're out there and you haven't already done so, please do me a huge solid and subscribe to the Louie Tee Network for more great content. Turn on your notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Also, hit the like button. It's helped this channel grow exponentially. And if you are interested, okay, LTN exclusives up and running, Soul Survivor Pool, Winners and Losers League, Weekly Pick'em Pool, all of those things and more. Come get some. If you're competitive like myself, then come get some. If not, continue to sit on the bench and watch the game. But until then, you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will see you guys on Monday. God bless and good night.